Oh my goodness.
Hey everybody.
Call aboard.
Welcome aboard the Tabletop Express. It's the end of the month, so this is Call Aboard What's on Your Table. I'm Chris.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Anthony.
And if this is your first time tuning in to Call Aboard, this is a live call-in show. I will note that we do ask if you want to call in and you're a first-time caller. There's a link to our Discord, and we just ask that you do join our Discord just so we can verify your humanity. Kind of an important thing to do.
No bots, please.
Yeah, no bots. But with that said, tonight is our end of the month show of Call Aboard. So a live call-in show, but end of month is special because it also means reviews.
So special.
It does mean reviews. So we'll be having 5 reviews at the end of tonight's show. Around, at the latest, 10:30. We'll be beginning reviews for Freelancers, Harmonies, Knarr, PalmLabratory, and RearWindow.
Yes, and I will note, we will, of course, point out when those are review copies, just so you have that clarification. And then, important clarification. But it is what's on your table. I see we have a caller.
We do, but I wanted to start with this really quickly.
Yes.
So it's been a long time since we did like a proper call aboard.
That's true.
The last call aboard was like the top 20 fun list.
That's
this
right.
is like the
right.
Let's just chill out and talk board games. And we've missed 2 months of chilling out and talking board games.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's why probably a few more in the review category tonight. But like we said, about 10:30 tonight, we'll jump into those. And before we go to our caller, I will say this. If you've never called in, we mentioned the Discord. Definitely make sure you join it because we'll just check in on what your Discord name is and just confirm. But other than that, looking forward to now 2 callers I see in the queue.
Hey-o.
And talking to games you played this past month. And if you're a part of this channel, actually, it's been really a month and a half. So go back into
if you want to go back to April,
I'd say we're
Go
cool.
ahead.
Whenever. We don't care.
Yeah, we don't really care.
Tell us about
Tell us the game.
Tell us the game you played. Talk about the game, what you liked, what you didn't like, the experience, all that jazz. But with that, I think we can jump right into our first caller of the night.
Yeah. Let's bring her in 3, 2, and 1. Hello, Arwen.
Hey, y'all. What's going on?
How are you?
I'm good.
Kicking
Busy,
this
but
off.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have Origins planned up, don't you?
Yeah. So a lot of things going on for Origins. I'm like sending emails right now. I'm also like listing all of my games that I'm trying to get rid of. So
oh man.
y'all are looking for great deals on games that I didn't like, but you might.
Ooh.
Go check out BGG in about an hour.
Okay.
Origins
Definitely
game fair.
drop that in the chat because that'd be fun to peruse.
Oh yeah. Let me see if I can grab that for y'all. But yeah, excited to talk games. I have been following the Brian Chandler method of the side table that I have right to the left of me here. And that has helped me immensely. I'm down to 136 unplayed games, which is just kind of crazy to me.
That's awesome. And Arwen, the last time you were on the channel, you were doing your own top 20 with Brian Chandler.
I was. Yeah, it was great. We had such a good time. We had a lot of fun. That may be changing after some of the stuff that I've played. But we'll see. We'll see where that kind of fits.
The
in.
fun will be changing. Sorry.
No, the
list will be changing.
no,
the order.
the list.
The order of
The
the list.
I do want to highlight, by the way, some people in the chat. Marcel's in the chat. Rachel's here. Dan's here. And Brian Chandler.
What's
All
up?
the cool
Side table
kids.
forever.
There you go.
Yeah, we're loving the side table.
So talk about, we meant to give a hit the side table, but what game or two is on your mind tonight from this last period of time?
So I've actually got a couple. I'm going to start off with something good and then then finish with something not so great. Because I don't want to review it on the podcast, so y'all get to listen to me rant.
Oh, nice.
We'll take it.
The first game that I want to talk about is TwilightInscription.
Ooh.
This was a side table play that I had up for a couple of days, and it is fantastic.
Okay.
Really, really liking this roll and write kind of version of Twilight Imperium. There's some thematic tie-ins a little bit, but it's its own thing. You do get to do some similar things, but it's kind of its own game. Really enjoyed this. I thought that the color vision, the way that they did it was pretty good. A lot of double coding as far as the symbols and everything else. The additional dice that you also get to pick up and start rolling. Those are all color coded to symbols as well. So I had no problems whatsoever with this. It was great. And
is this a single player's board?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
That's a lot.
So you have a faction card. You may have up to 2 artifacts, which are the cards on the left-hand side. So you see the faction and then the artifact cards.
Okay.
And then all the main board stuff is right there. Those 4 boards kind of pieced together. And that's pretty much your play area. So I had an entire side desk. It took up most of it. But fortunately, I was able to use that just fine. And then there's another board on top of that that's kind of like your Mechatol Rex board that tracks like who got there first. And then for solo, it also tracks all of the different things for solo. So that was great as well.
You said, though, thematically, if I haven't played the original, no, I have, but if you're someone who hadn't played the original, really, you could jump right into this one and you're getting
absolutely
a very different. It's its own game, is what you're basically saying.
It is. It definitely is. I would say thematic and kind of beats only, and just kind of feel. You have a lot of your familiar factions there. So like your trade lions are doing trade lion stuff, etc. So you have the feel of some of the thematic elements from Twilight Imperium, but not necessarily any of the mechanics from it.
Got it. Yeah, I remember when this came out. I can't believe it was 2002. This technically was published because I remember
2022.
2022.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2020. That's what I meant. But still 2022 still feels far away when this came out, because I remember this was a big deal, and then I hadn't heard much about this one in a while, so it's good to see it brought up again, because it did look like one that I'd like to try once and see what I thought as overall a roll and write game that was definitely heavier roll and write experience. It's not going to be your first roll and write for sure.
Oh, absolutely not. It was funny because my fiance was talking about, like, oh, that looks kind of cool. Like, we should get that to the table. And I'm like, you're probably not going to want this one. And then she saw like all the boards and she goes, I don't know about that. So really, and I know that I do say this a lot, but this is another game that once you get into it, it really does make a lot of sense. The flow makes sense. What you're doing makes sense. You pick a board, and that is the board that you're working on for that round. So you can use some resources from other boards that maybe you didn't use in prior turns, but you are just working and focusing on one thing at a time, which is something that I really like with this. And a lot of comments I've heard that people had issues with Hadrian's Wall was like the bouncing back and forth and going all over the place. And this really does kind of stick to one board. You can do a lot on there, but you're only working on one thing at a time, which is interesting.
Your Hadrian's Wall, they're right next to each other, but you do have to think about, if I do this, do I want to take this action with this? I have this resource to manage here. So that's interesting that you're really operating off the one board.
So a lot of times with roll and writes, I always find myself doing a lot of just solitaire, just a lot of like writing down my own piece of paper, ignoring everyone else. Twilight Imperium is very much in your face at times with other players. does this have any sort of player interaction? Have you tried it on multiplayer?
I've only tried it solo so far. You know, a lot of the things that you're looking to do are going to be on your own board. So a lot of that solo kind of feel to it. You know, obviously the race to Mechatol Rex is going to be the big interaction point for everybody. And then also getting some of those different artifacts that come out as well. You know, those are going to be you know, something that you want to pick up.
Got it.
Yeah. Sky, by the way, talking about jumping into the game. It's a good comment there.
I missed it. Where is it? Right there.
Yeah. And basically jumped in and found the knowledge and all good. So
Tyler's saying too, the battle board panel is the only one that really has interaction from my memory.
Yeah, that's a good point. So you see that there's a board that's on the lower left-hand side that you're battling your two neighbors, and you're trying to get a higher amount of nodes that are marked off in a certain section. And you're comparing that score. If you get higher than them, you're going to get like a little bonus. If you get lower than them, there's a penalty. If you tie them, nothing happens.
Got it.
Yeah, so that's the interaction there. So good point by Tyler.
That's cool. At least you're paying attention to what other people are doing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how much you would like it.
No, I don't think so. That's not my kind of game.
Oh, no. Well, you mentioned liking this one, but there's one you didn't like that you're itching to tell us about. It sounds like, well, not itching, but
hang on, let me pull that up.
PapillonGardens.
Let me pull it up. Where is it?
Let me speak of how much I didn't like this game.
Flip, roll, and stamp your way to victory, building the most beautiful of gardens.
Okay.
I wish that was accurate. You know, there's so there's not much of a response on this. And you can see this is like the most vibrant thing that you're doing. And it's a really cool concept, right? You have these stamps that you're trying to use that you can stamp flowers. You could always draw them. You know, there's nothing that's preventing you from drawing them. It's just like, hey, here's a stamp and it's going to be red. And by the way, these stamps are nowhere near what you're actually going to wind up with. So you have, yeah, exactly. You see the stamps on that picture are beautiful. They're vibrant. You know, they're very, very nice. That's not what you're going to get off of.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull one out of here.
Oh my goodness!
So that you can see the actual quality.
I'm gonna go to the close-up cam.
I mean, it is a cool concept, but then it is like, okay, yeah, it's like a kid's toy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice house.
Yeah. And then my awful symbols. And
your drawings are better.
This is really
you can
what
barely
I
see the
thought
yellow.
of this game right here. Yeah, see, you have two boards that you're kind of working on, and it's a 10-round game. The rule book itself was awful. I believe it was translated, but it was translated very poorly. They didn't really go through. There's a lot of contradictions on what exactly to do. There is a YouTube video by Kavre who basically put out a how to play. And even that doesn't necessarily kind of clarify exactly the points that we were looking at. But everything felt kind of bland. It didn't feel like it popped the way that I wanted to. And I was really excited for this because I associated this with Papillon, which was kind of like almost a 3D area control game, which I really happen to like. I know that I'm kind of in the minority when it comes to that. I know a lot of people didn't necessarily click with it, but this also had a lot of color vision issues as well, especially with the two stamps. The blue and the purple were very, very close for me. in addition to that, like the outside of the stamp was absolutely fine. Or the let me see which one that was. Yeah, so the outside of the stamp was fine, like how that was portrayed. But if you look at the difference here,
Oh yeah,
in
It's
between
hard to
those
tell.
two, it's kind of hard to tell at a distance.
yeah.
So that didn't really click with me at all either. Like I felt like the accommodations were just kind of there to be there and not really, they didn't really help all that much.
I like the novelty of a stamp in a board game, but
I did too, and I thought that the stamp could be kind of cool. And I got like the deluxe edition that had stamps. There's little critters that you also unlock. So as you go up tracks, you have the option of getting this critter that you're going to stamp or draw. Most people would just probably draw it, but I like the concept of it. I like the theming from a conceptual perspective, but it didn't really pop at all. It was kind of bland.
mm-hmm.
And then that rule book really just solidified, not liking this. I think the other thing is that there wasn't really a lot of that synergy that you like to see with a roll and write, where you're doing something and then you unlock something else and you might unlock something else. It was very just, you didn't feel like you were accomplishing much, or what you were doing really had that much of an effect on the end game.
That sounds really bad.
You mentioned stamps. I'll bring this up because I just looked it up because I have a copy of this one. The only game I've ever played with that really uses stamps is, I don't know if you've played it, it's a completely different theme, is USPS, the Great American Mail Race.
I haven't. I've seen it, but I haven't played it.
My family and I played this one. It was incredibly fun. You're actually stamping like you're like, it's really cool. There's like a little stamping device. You'll see it.
Oh yeah.
And it works really well. Like we really enjoyed this. And it's quite neat. And you're stamping like your little ticket, your delivery slip. And this was one of the coolest iterations I've seen of a kind of a stamping in a game, because it just made sense. Like
this immediately looks better.
better.
Looks better.
Well, you also got compared it to any other colors or shapes or anything.
No, you don't
marking off sections.
You're just marking off sections, clearly marked sections that are labeled for them as well. So it's
a single stamp too, right?
Yeah, it's just that one.
Looks like there's a lot of space for ink in that one.
Yeah, and you could absolutely get more ink.
Yeah.
And because you're just, but yeah. But anyways, when you mentioned stamp game, that game came to mind, so I had to quickly make sure I got the title right. But yeah. Try that one if you want to redeem the stamp game world.
I do. I have an itch for stamps, and that looks like that could do a much better job.
Yeah, I'm all for novelty stuff like that. Stamps, scratch offs in games, I think could be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
there is I did a little bit of a write-up of the color vision kind of issues in the Discord as well, under the colorblind games section as well. So if y'all are looking for more information on that and a little bit deeper dive, you can go there and check that out.
Nice.
Yeah, and we'll encourage people to definitely, as we mentioned, join the Discord, and you can go check out Arwen stuff over there in the creators channel section, where Arwen has her own spot where you can catch your podcast. A lot of great conversations, board game reviews that you've been doing. Anything coming up that we can look forward to?
Yeah, so next week is just a lot of reviews, including two that I have been playing that I won't spoil, from Amanda Valorant, a designer that I had never heard of, but she has had, kind of spoilers, two really good games, including one that's out on Kickstarter now that I got a prototype copy of, called Puppets in High Places. Had a lot of fun with that. It's a 2-player rondel with a tug of war with dice. Really had a lot of fun playing that. Then, go ahead.
No, I like those. I like the sound of that.
It's really tight. It's really solid. Small box, so you can't go wrong with that. In addition to that, I am going to be doing a Origins preview on video at some point over the next couple of weeks. So going through everything that is coming out at Origins and just having a chill stream as well. So yeah, looking forward to the next few weeks and then seeing everybody at Origins, hopefully.
I'm dropping down your flea market link in the chat.
Yes, please go buy stuff.
There you go.
It wasn't for me, but it could be for you. So
there you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Arwen.
Yeah, thanks, Arwen.
Thanks, y'all.
See you later. All right, so we got another caller
In the
Can I
wings.
just bring him in?
Yeah, bring him in.
Yeah.
All right.
Bring him
him in 3 and 2 and 1. Hello, Marcel.
Howdy.
How we doing?
Doing good. Your background blur made it look like you're giving me a different sign with your hands.
Yeah, it's not doing a very good job hiding the mess, but we'll neither here nor
that's
there,
okay.
I guess. First game hasn't technically been on the table. We've been playing a bot in BGA, and
Mhm.
hopefully it'll be on its way soon. Mojo.
Yeah, I knew you would bring this one up. Hang on.
That was on
Yeah,
my
that's why I got
list.
in early, so no one else would take it.
Yeah, that was on my list in case you didn't come in and bring it up. So
Talk to us about Mojo.
Yeah, quick, simple card game, really. The whole point is you get a hand and you want to try and shed your cards as much as you can. There's a card in the middle, and if you play a card that is the same number, you get to keep playing until you play a different card. If you play a card that is lower, your turn is over. If you play a card that is higher, then you have to take another card. Once you've shed your hand down to 3 cards, you go into what they call Mojo time, and you put your cards face down. And then basically it's a turn counter. So once you flip a card over every time it comes back to your turn, and then you show all your cards after the third, and you count up your points. So in a typical hand, you've got the different colors shown here, and the icons, which I think help out some of the colorblind people on this one to make it a little bit more simple. But so say you had a 0 and a 1, which are both the blue or the fish one there, you'd only get charged 1 point.
Yeah, it is a
And the
bad
goal
hand.
of the game is to basically not be the first person to 50.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Here's a better example with some cards.
Yeah.
that's a
So
lot
in
better.
that little, that little 10 plus card there. So whoever is the first person to get down to 3 or start Mojo time, that card goes to them. If they have the lowest number of points in the hand, they get 0 for that turn. If they don't, then they get an additional 10. So you want to try and go out at the right time, or maybe not go out before somebody else if you have a couple of high cards.
Yeah, this one has been played a lot on BGA. I saw Tyler enjoying playing this last Thursday. We had a community night. A few people came out from a Discord and played, and I know Tyler had a chance. It was one of those people. And in real time, because I played a lot of this asynchronously.
Yeah.
So I was so glad that I got to play it in real time, because the game just flows, and I think that doesn't matter. I don't think if you be in person or playing in an online game. It's pretty quick decision making, with a very simple concept of just numbered cards and colored cards. And it executes really well what it's trying to do. And I know this was part of a Kickstarter.
Yeah,
Well,
that
recently, so-
25th century one.
Yeah.
So this is coming this summer, hypothetically, I guess.
At some point,
Can I
yeah.
just highlight the throwback to like the back of the game box photos of like old time board games?
I love that.
This is
That
great.
girl's devastated though. She got mojoed.
She got mojoed, or she doesn't like that she ended the mojo. And
Yeah, probably what happened.
oh,
Gotta love this flashback.
that's great.
Looks
The
cool.
happier time in that picture.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
what-
after.
Well, one of the first times I played this, the 2 games in, Marcel actually goes to me and says, you don't want 12s, right? I'm like, I know. I just kept getting 12s.
Oh, you knew what you were doing?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh, sorry.
I had like 4 12s 2 turns in a row, and I could not get rid of all the 12s.
Yeah, you were really bad that.
I know those
Yeah.
first 2 games were really. I've gotten better since.
It's
was-
always fun when you throw down the 11 and you get a 12 back.
Yeah. Or it's great when the best card to put down is a 0, but no matter what the next person puts down, it's going to be higher.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some great moments in it. So, yeah. I highly recommend people check this out. If you're on Board Game Arena, definitely try this one. I think it does really well in that online iteration, but I'm looking forward to the physical copy of this one and just being one of those games I can kind of just bring with me the same way that I bring like Sea Salt and Paper and Scout and some other games, but this is simpler and that it's going to get played really quickly versus some of those other games that I really like, but will require training or a little bit of teaching.
I would do this with like the crowd, if they're getting into gaming and like Uno, is 10.
Yeah.
This is like this is in that ilk, and I'd rather play this than those two.
Yeah, agree.
You know?
And that's why I would want that in that mix because it's another option.
Yeah, I think I had to add like 3 boxes to my order of this game alone.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a lot of mojo, sir.
A lot of mojo. Anything else this month that hit the radar? Or last month, yeah.
Sagrada.
Ooh,
Oh, that's right. You got your introduction, right?
Yep. So we finally got that one on the table, and I think it was an instant hit in my family.
This is a great family week
It
game.
really, really is.
Super colorful, inviting, very clear. Like it makes sense. Like like how it's set up. It's just
Yeah,
perfect.
and I mean we did the easy mode, but there were still moments where like I think my sister had managed to block herself out on any move, so she had to use a tool to move some dice around, and then she moved those dice to another blocking spot without realizing it till a turn later.
Yeah, that'll happen.
So
I enjoy the snake draft of it all.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
I like
that's
the
very
fact
cool.
that you have like everyone might have a different number of sort of pearls or whatever they're called to use those tools. So if you don't spend them, they're going to give you extra points at the end of the game. I like that. They're yours to blow if you really want to. If you want to go through them, if not, try to get some points.
And it's different costs, right? It's like you spend 1 pearl, there's nothing on it. If there's something on it, you spend
then
2.
it's going to be 2 afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's a game that if you, like yourself, just got this one, there's plenty of expansions. If you ever want to expand the world, I haven't played them. I can't speak to them. I've only played the base, and the base does so much well.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I haven't played any of those either.
I feel like too one of the biggest things with Sagrada when it came out was beautiful, but it came out like right at the same time as like Azul.
Yeah.
And there were tons of comparisons with like Azul and Sagrada. I feel like Sagrada fell in the shadow of Azul for sure, but Sagrada is still pretty solid.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
and they're very. I'm happy that I have both in my collection.
Yeah.
They definitely both belong in my, and that will not change. There are games
these are staples in the collection now.
Oh yeah, easily. So,
and who doesn't like rolling a bunch of dice?
There you go.
I did also like the aspect of it too with that snake draft. It's like, all right, well, they're going twice in a row now. Do I take one now, or do I risk it and see if I get it after? Do they need it? So it's also a little bit of that. And I do like how you have your own little private goal too, like collect all this color, get extra points.
It's nice being at the end of that snake draft though, so you just get 2 in a row. That's always the best position.
So yeah, those would be my 2 ones. Nothing too heavy this year month, but hoping to get a couple bigger ones in June.
Cool.
Yeah. No. Well, awesome. Great picks. I'm glad you brought up Mojo as I noted, because that was on my list. So you saved me from having to pull that one. But appreciate that, and thank you for calling in as always.
Yeah,
and,
not a problem.
We'll look forward to what you've played next month.
All right. Bye.
Later.
See ya.
All right.
So
looking good.
Great start. Thank you to both Arwen and Marcel. If anyone else wants to call in and say hi,
the phone lines are open.
Call dashboard.com.
Operators are standing by.
And like we said, just make sure if you're new, join the Discord, just so we can do your humanity check. But with that note, until we get any more people in the queue, I'd ask you, I guess. Let's start with you.
Geez.
What's jumping to mind that you played this past?
All right. We're not reviewing it yet, right?
Right.
But
it's one of the ones that are coming up.
I would love to talk about this game. ForNorthwood.
Mhm.
ForNorthwood, a solo trick-taking game. So this one, I was very skeptical.
Why?
A solo
Yeah, why-
trick-taking game. Doesn't sound like my kind of thing. I like trick-taking
fair.
games, but a solo-only trick-taking game. When it comes to solo gaming, I tend to be more in like the heavy, I want to play with toys solo gaming than I want a quick setup and teardown solo game. And this is very much a quick setup and teardown.
Yes.
In ForNorthwood, you are trying to get the most points. Well, you're trying to get like a perfect score. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be going out and trying to have a conversation with a king or a queen of different suits. And what you're going to be doing is you'll, like, let's say you go for this one here, this panda over here. This panda requires 3 tricks to be won. You draw up a hand, you have a hand of 8, and you have to decide, okay, well, I could probably go for this one because I only need 3 to win. And then whatever suit you're going up against, that suit is the trump suit.
Mhm.
Okay.
Not only that, you always have these 4 jacks at your disposals, which have specific special abilities that you can play to make sure you don't go over or under that number, because you have to get the exact number you're bidding for. And then once you do, if you succeed, then ForNorthwood, you get a point. Or if you go down into the level 2 or level 5 one, ForNorthwood get 2 points. 1 through 6, you get 3 points. And at the very far end, 0 tricks or 7 tricks, you're going to get 4 points.
Interesting.
Now, the thing is, you need to get both left and right to succeed. If you don't, then there's no way you're going to win. You just lose. And then you want to get somewhere between, well, the highest score, I believe, is 20. I believe it's 20. I don't know. But it's great. This is a fantastic game. I love trying this one out.
And we will review this, I believe, next month. I played half a game of it before the last episode of Call Aboard.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
played
my
0
only
parts.
experience with it. But
well, the other thing too, I first heard about this game when we were doing the top 20 with Danielle, which it ended up being on her list.
Yeah.
And it just so happens Danielle is a caller right now.
Whoa.
So let's bring her in.
Whoa.
There we go.
Hey, Danielle.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey,
Hi, guys.
how's it going? Well,
Good. How are you guys?
good. ForNorthwood's so good. You're absolutely right.
Yes, I'm so happy you finally got to play. That's one of my favorites. I like it.
Yeah, I was blown away, honestly, and I still haven't dived into everything. So the thing is, the game I'm doing right now is just very just beat your own score kind of thing. But there's also scenario-based ones, and there's different sort of characters you can go up against. So you don't have to go always against kings and queens. You can go up against like I forget what they're titled, but there was like a frog and all that stuff.
yeah, I saw there was like other cards in there that were potentially used. So it looked interesting the way you could mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, so thank you for bringing this one up, Danielle. And I think you shared it on our Discord when it was available again on Amazon. So that's why.
Yeah, because it came. I don't know if it was me, but it did come back into stock recently. Yeah.
So I scooped it up.
Yeah. No, Danielle, you always come up with, there's always, when we get to those top 20 lists, there's always like 1 or 2 of them just like, what is this one? I need to try this.
Yeah.
That I never heard of. And it's usually you who's brought the ones I've never heard of that surprised the heck out of me. This one, after I only played it briefly, so I can't say much, but I enjoyed what was happening. So I know, Anthony, I need to
I definitely want to check it out.
get this played, and we'll come back next month and totally do our review of it. But
Color me intrigued.
yeah, I'm guessing a positive review from this guy.
It's pretty good.
What about you? You've been playing. I know you've been playing a lot of games. I see all the stuff you're putting out. Tons of new games hitting the table for you. Anything really catching your eye this month?
So this month, actually, I've been really playing a lot of Crokinhole, which is not much of a solo game.
I was hoping
But,
You're
talk
just
about
you're
that.
just bouncing off at each other here. It's perfection.
yeah, pretty much. Yes.
That's
why
your
I
top
love your
20 for next
community
year.
because there's just so many games being talked about, and this was one that definitely caught my eye, and I'm really happy with my purchase. So I've been playing a lot. It has not left my table since I got it. It's also really heavy, so it's probably gonna stay there a while. But yeah, I've been playing a lot. I've been having more people come over just to try it out, and they've been really enjoying it. I've been surprised, like even this one friend who doesn't normally play games, like she was really good at this game. She's like a natural. But yes, it's really, really fun.
Oh yeah, this game brings people out of the woodwork. I know people that swear like I'm not playing a board game with you, Ryan. But Crokinhole they'll play because Crokinhole is like that's the even ground for everyone.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's just it's a game of skill. It feels a little bit on the billiard side.
Sure, it's like a pseudo sport.
Yeah.
Activity.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't call it yeah. It's like it's an ESPN the Ocho
exactly
kind of entry.
That's a fair description. And you bought yours from Tracy Boards, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So you went through Tracy, and what impressed me, I remember because I was watching. I remember you said you ordered it, and then it was there like 2 days. It seems like it was like 2 days, 3 days later. Like it was
under a week. Yeah, so I was pretty surprised it came, and it was very well packaged. Like there was a hole in the box, but it was packaged well enough that it wasn't damaged.
Yeah.
And yeah, really good experience with them. They like kept me posted on when they actually had it, sent out or when it was picked up by the shipment people. And I also got their Crokinhole cards that they sell on their site, and that's how I played solo a few times. And
so how is that?
It's good. It basically, you set up the board according to where the card tells you to put the discs, and you have to try to clear all of the discs. And then on your, if you have any discs left, you have to try to get into the middle hole for the 20 points to win the entire game. So it's pretty cool. It's basically just allows you to practice,
Yeah, it sounds like drills.
Yeah. Well, I'm really good at like knocking off other discs off of the board, but getting the 20 in, that's tough.
You'll get good at it.
Yeah, I need to practice.
It's and the thing is too, well, there's so many things you get with Crokinhole. It's like, you're not really like flicking, like you're not like going like this, like you're like
I've played it. I was not very good at it.
You gotta like slide it.
Yes,
slide it.
It's definitely a gentle.
And then there's two sides. One's faster, one's slower.
Oh, I had no idea.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't realize it was double sided.
Oh yeah.
On those little things.
Yeah.
Oh, I just always put it down.
And it's convex. Convex.
Huh.
I have to look closely. I didn't realize there was a difference on the sides.
Yeah. So one side goes faster than the other. So you could kind of just like if you tried doing the same flick with just and try both sides, you'll see the difference.
Okay, I guess that's probably why sometimes mine goes flying across the room.
Yeah,
other times it doesn't.
Yeah, it could be. And then you got to take care of the board too at times. So
like waxing it, right?
Yeah, you gotta wax it at times.
You don't put any of that like sand on.
Oh yeah,
on shuffleboard.
Oh yeah, the shuffleboard sand. Yeah. Did you get any of that stuff?
Yeah, it came with it. I got like two containers of it.
Man, so good.
Like
put it on the pizza.
Yeah.
I think Todd has challenged Danielle to a game. By the way,
look at that.
Let's do it. Let's do like a tournament or something.
Marcel played it for the first time at G2S. Yeah. And then Eddie just picked up the Mayday one. That's the one I started out with.
Oh, nice.
So I'm sorry for you, Eddie. When you play the Mayday one, and then
bottom one.
Yeah, it's on Board Game Geek. If it's on Board Game Geek, it's a board game. That's the rules.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, this is how it goes.
By the way, we are playing a game tonight, which is called
Crokinhole?
No.
Oh.
Defeating the bad weather and keeping the stream going, and so far we're winning. So I'm very
happy. Yeah, there's a thunderstorm going on right now.
Oh yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Marcel says it's a game and it's a board. So
Game and a board.
Oh,
This guy's saying one he wants to
That's true.
try. Yeah.
yeah,
It's the only game that is in my living room. Everything else is in this room.
yeah.
Because
It's
hung
on
up
your
the
wall.
Yeah.
It's on your wall. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. I remember actually one of the first times I came into your house, I asked, "What is that?" Because I didn't know what that was, and that's like asking like someone who's like a fanatic about anything to just tell you the story of the history of that. And yeah,
I'm glad you asked.
oh, I'm pretty sure we played it that day too. So yeah,
Yeah. It's a good one.
yeah.
I have to play it. Never played it still.
Tonight's tonight.
Chew, by the way, Chewy drove through the storm to get here for the stream.
Thanks, buddy.
Wow.
Thank you, Chewy.
And Todd's playing for 4 years. Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
Watch out. It'll come with like the
Wow.
sweatbands. You know?
Before we let you go anywhere, Danielle, by the way, anything coming up? Any solo plays or openings that's coming over to your channel? Over on YouTube, everyone's gotta go follow Danielle, by the way. Make sure you subscribe.
Yeah, no, nothing out of the ordinary coming up on my channel. I just got Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs, so I actually have it set up right in front of me to do a learning game after the stream, and I got a bunch of other games. What else did I get? Birdwatcher. I'm excited to give it a try. I don't hear too much about that one, but I've been getting into like bird watching, like in real life.
Oh,
So
cool.
I figured why not get into a game about bird watching.
It's not this
Because
one,
it's
is
a
it?
game. No, bird. It's called is it? Yeah, bird watcher. But I think it's together the words.
That's Parker Brothers game from 19.
Okay, here we go.
Yep, that one. Yeah.
All right.
So solo friendly. I don't know how well it'll play solo, but I figured why not?
The art
give it
looks
a try.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
And yeah, I do want to try to do more streams if I can. Trying to get more comfortable with that, so that's why I'm on here as well.
Yeah.
no, we love seeing it. So no, definitely. If you are watching this and you're not subscribed, Daniel, feel free to drop that link in the chat after, so everyone can jump over who might be following along there. And I'll encourage you to also go check out Arwen, who was on earlier, was part of our top 20 series. Danielle, you shared your top 20 board games of all time as part of their series this year. So go check out that series. There's a playlist right on our channel that'll go to it. I know it also streamed to your channel. We crossed the streams on this one. So
You had to say that.
yeah, I had to. I'm gonna steal it.
Which we have, by the way, in the studio, your number one, Raising Robots.
Yes.
So
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
so
We're trying to work through as many of those top 20s as we can. So
Yeah. It's over there. Under Marvel Champions.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you,
Alright.
Danielle. Always good to see you. Also, by the way, first time she called in. So first
Oh, yeah.
time caller.
She gets a toot.
First
You
time.
get the toot. Where'd the toot
It's
go?
right here.
Oh, it's
Where's
behind
my
the
tutor?
Hold on, you get the toot.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Danielle.
Yay.
All
All right, thanks.
Have a good
Thanks,
night. See you in the
guys.
chat.
Awesome. Good stuff tonight. I will share something really quick here.
Hit it.
So could you bring up RoyalVisit?
Royal Visit. Okay.
Now, I mentioned this. It's the 2006, I believe. Yes.
This one?
Yes. So one of the things that I talked about earlier this year was I wanted to start playing for this 2-player series. Then there's all these 2-player games out there.
You just mean 2-player games in general?
No,
Or a
this is
specific
actually, I
series?
believe this technically falls under, there was a
It's
list.
2 only.
Yes, but there was a list that this is specifically on.
Oh, the Cosmos.
The
one.
Cosmos
Oh, that's what I was
2-player.
asking.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah, the
Two-player.
the series, the 2-player Cosmos games.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was one of those ones that I saw. I had some money from my birthday. I said, let me just pick this up. And it's a really simple, straightforward family weight game of kind of a tug of war where you're trying to get the king's attention. And what's neat about this board, it's a cloth board that's in there that you
Yeah.
roll out, which I'm loving more and more with these
That's
cloth
this
boards
one,
and games.
correct?
Yes. Yeah. Now, if you look at this, you're going to notice there's a bunch of these different pieces. You've got the king. He's got his soldiers or his guards. and the guards always the king always starts in the middle. The guards always start 2 spaces away on both sides, and then you've got a wizard, and you've got this jester, and the wizard and the jester have different abilities based on where they're placed at that time on the board. Every round, you're also getting points for the amount of people on your side of the board. So you've got a crown that's moving along the top. So not only you can win in 2 ways. You can win by getting the king all the way to one side, or you can win by getting the crown all the way over as well. And so it's got this neat tug of war that's happening with that. But you've got to think strategically about what you're moving, and you're doing that through card play.
Okay.
And you can play one type of card on any given turn. So it's a pretty simple game to teach. You've got to learn the different card types, how they play. One of the neat things is, as an example, if you play 2 king cards, you can move the king and those guards all one direction.
2 away.
Yeah.
Got it.
But for the most part, again, pretty straightforward rules. You can probably took me 5 minutes to learn, and then another 5 minutes to teach my son. We played it. I think he won that first game, if I'm not mistaken. But it was just a really enjoyable game for me. Definitely a lighter game. This is not going to take long. This is going to take you probably 10 minutes to play.
It's light, but it's still strategic.
Oh, yes. It's definitely strategic. And much like I like a game like Onitama or other ones like that can play in 10, 15 minutes, this falls kind of into that window. But 2 players specifically with some really those big chunky wood pieces, some nice basic card play. And again, I like the tug of war. Everyone, if you watch this channel, know I love the tug of war that can take place in a game. This does it really well. So definitely a keeper in the 2-player collection for me, and definitely one I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue to work down that list. So on the show, from time to time, you're going to hear me bring up another one from this list because I want to work for the series. Some of those are going to be harder to get copies of to even play than others, but I'm going to do the best I can.
Nice.
Well, I'm going to piggyback on that, if that's okay. I know we have a caller, but real quick, just because it's a good segue. I played a 2-player game that is not from this particular line it's referencing. However, it is also on a cloth board.
Ooh.
And I think you've played this one as well. It's Mandala.
Yes.
So it's a 2-player only game. I think this one's from Lookout Games. In Mandala, you're trying to collect these different stones, which are represented by the cards. And the way you do that is you have this central area, and both players have a sort of field area that they can play cards to in front of them. And there's these 2 mountain areas that you can play cards to. So you're basically working in these 2 different regions, these 2 mountain regions. The direction that it goes is going to dictate like what you can play next, because once a color is played to either that mountain or field area, that color can't be played there anymore. So you might play, 2 or 3 or 4 cards of the same color, but once they're there, you can add to them, but you can put them in a different section. When one of the 2 players plays the 6th color type to either one of these mandalas, the mandala breaks, and you then basically divvy up the spoils of the cards. So when that happens, you look at how many cards you have in front of you in your field, and the player with the most gets to choose from the spoils of the mountain first. If you're tied, I think the person who just went gets to pick first.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And then what you're doing is you're taking those colors and putting them, if it's the first time you're getting them, you put them in this one, I forget what they're called, this one scoring area in front of you. On a future turn, if you collect that color again, you keep stacking it face down off to the side. And that's important because these square spots that are running in front of you are going to be worth a different amount of points. So as the game goes on, you collect these colors of these stones. At the very end, you're going to be scoring up, all right, how many, okay, my red was in the 2-point section. How many reds did I get? I got 4 reds, 8 points. So you're really trying to time it out so that you get the most of those 6 pointers at the end because you want to get the most points. The other interesting thing is at the start of the game, you get dealt 2 face down stones to start in your little collection. So you do have some kind of a semblance of it. I've already got 2 of these down here. How do I want to play this? And you're playing both sides, so it's not just you're not just playing one now, and you're playing both. It's really thinky and strategic, and I really, really enjoy it. I got my butt kicked by my wife, but I hadn't played this game in a very long time, and I'm glad I got it back to the table because it really cooks.
I own this one. I love this one. This one has bounced into my top 10 for 2-player games, bounced in and out, but a lot of that comes with what else I've been playing. And I just got, before we bring in our next person, I just want to note, I just got for my birthday Patterns, which is by the same. This is the
that's a
second
follow-up
in the one, and then Flowers, which is on BGA now, is the third in the series.
Oh my goodness!
Wow,
and can I point out one of the designers of this game, Trevor Benjamin?
Sure.
So shocker that I like it. I mean, Trevor Benjamin is actually, I think, maybe on more lists than anybody else for me now.
Really?
Yeah, because War Chest he's on. He's
War
on all
Chest,
these pattern
Undaunted.
games. He's on Undaunted. He's on these. There's a certain duo out there that one or the other makes his way on my list every time.
There you go.
But yeah, Patterns is one I've not played yet, but maybe that means you and I need to play Patterns.
Absolutely.
Because it looks really cool.
I saw some love for that too. Where was it? I think Eddie posted that right here.
Yep.
Love Mandala and Patterns. Both
Mhm,
Trevor
mhm.
Benjamin design.
Yeah.
Have you played Mandala?
No, I haven't. I'm only doing Flowers right now.
I think you might like it.
Yeah.
Because it is highly interactive.
Yeah.
with the other
And
players,
I
for
like
sure.
those 2 better than Flowers thus far, because
Okay.
Flowers is designed for the 2 to 4. Not that I
Okay,
dislike
okay.
Flowers, but I really like that 2-player piece. So
And Patterns is also 2 only. 2
I
players?
believe it is 2 players. Yes, 2 players.
Two
We need
players only.
2 players only. So
All right.
so yeah.
Nice.
put it on our list. That's one we'll get to the table.
Sweet.
But with that, I do not want to keep our next caller waiting.
Which I did see, by the way, Mr. Rau's here.
Oh, good.
Welcome back from the soccer game, Mr. Rau.
Yeah, and I know Mr. Rao is starting to put some videos together again on his channel.
Yep.
So his break is over, it seems like.
Yeah, the
he
machine churning again.
Yeah, the machine's moving. But
Iron Tootin'.
with that,
The Iron Horse is here.
Iron
Yes.
Horse is in the building.
The
I don't-
Iron Horse of
do we-
Tabletop Express.
I don't know if he knows what number he's at now, but at this point, yeah,
We can probably figure it out.
we can go back and figure this out.
He
But
can let us know.
he's got a streak going. Let's
Bring
bring him
him
in. The Iron Horse, Tyler.
What up, Tyler?
What's up?
Hello, how we doing?
Doing
Good,
great.
man.
How are you?
Good. So I think I feel like I'm newer to the community. It's been almost a year now, but I think the first time I called in was just after the PAX Unplugged call aboard that you guys did back in November, something like that.
That must have been December.
Well, that would PAX was in December.
Yeah.
December.
It feels like
Probably
forever.
December, yeah.
Yeah, that does feel like forever ago.
So yeah, I think it's been since then since I've called
Because
in.
at the time, Squirrel was on a streak.
Yes.
Yes.
And then,
Right.
so I think,
So he'd be the Iron Horse.
yeah, he was the Iron Horse, and now
You're now the Cal Ripken.
yeah,
That's
you're,
what
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
on.
We're gonna keep that streak going. It's gonna be going for
I
a
like
very long time. Don't worry about that. So,
That's awesome.
but-
What's on your table?
it's been a busy month, and if you're in the Ashes Reborn channel, that's a whole nother story of my plays there. But I have 2 games that I want to talk about, and the first one. So I've never played Orleans before, but I've heard this one is very similar in the style of the game. And after playing it with my game group, I really want to play Orleans now. And this game is Altiplano.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm butchering it or not, but super fun game. Like you're pulling a certain amount of workers depending on how many chips from your bag, depending on how far you up are on building the road, I think it is. And so there's 7 different locations that your worker, your llama, whatever your color is, can be at, and you can then do that action. But you only get a certain amount of moves per turn, depending on the amount of carts that you have or the amount of food that you draw to place on your board. And it's really interesting because there's so many different strategies with this game. Like you can hoard all the llamas so people can't get a specific type of material or specific type of chip that allows you to do something. And you can only move 3 spaces, which, as you can see, like you're going to get pretty much anywhere you need to go within 3 spaces for the most part. But it's a challenge because, okay, I only got a certain amount of limited moves, but I want to do these 3 things. So what's more important? How can I do this? How can I build my bag with these different chips, with these different values? And the different chips have certain point values at the end of the game too. Like water is the toughest one to get. And that water chip at the end of the game is worth 4 points. So it's more valuable, but it's going to be very tough to get. So how much do I want to push that? So it's a really fun kind of worker placement. It's not a true worker placement where you're getting blocked in any spots in that aspect, but with the worker placement, the bag building, and kind of management of how you're doing your actions, because some costs you can get additional actions by spending coins to get these additional tiles that'll be off to your side that can be done at certain locations or just can be done at any time. It's really interesting, and I think it played really well at 5, and it didn't really take too long to play either. So it didn't overstay its welcome at 5 for sure.
What did they list the weight on this one at? I think it's in the is it the 3s or the higher 2s?
Gotta be 3s, right?
I think it was the low 3s.
Yeah,
Low 3s.
329.
Okay, 329. Okay, which makes sense. I've seen this on a shelf plenty of times. So I don't need it. If anyone needs it, I've got a bunch of promos from Renegade. I believe is where it was underneath. But it's always caught my eye, and but then I played Orleans, and if a comparison was made, I'd probably still go play Orleans. But I gotta try this sometime based on what you're telling me. What you described sounds like a neat concept and one that would be in a kind of a nice space weight wise for a lot of people.
Yeah, and the game, you can push endgame too, because once one of the locations to land on, once all those chips are gone, or like all the chips and cards are gone from a spot, that triggers endgame. So you can push endgame quicker if you want to, if you know someone else is running away with it and you just don't want them to like blow you out of the game and kind of eliminate that. Or if you're ahead and you can really just focus on one area, go for it. Like it can definitely make that game go by a little quicker. And you can build like houses that'll get you certain bonus points at the end of the game for certain things, or boats that'll give you a resource immediately, but it will still give you points at the end of the game. There's so many different ways you can go with this game.
With that comparison, I have to ask, have you played this one?
I have not.
Okay. Because I'd be intrigued what you thought about this one.
I have not.
You like Orleans a lot, though, right?
I love Orleans. Yeah, Orleans fantastic. And I have been intrigued checking this one out. Because there's the other bag builders I want to try out. Altiplano and Hyperborea are the two I really want to check out. But Orleans is so
you're not alone. I see the nerd shelves in the house. Great to see you.
Hey.
And it looks like Trade Intrigue expansion, one of the favorite games of all time, which I don't know if that's a spoiler because they have a top 100 going on right now. So I'll be intrigued now when I watch where that has fallen.
Which I did just get, or is it over there? Orleans the Plague. So I'm excited to try that out. And I need to like proxy the pieces because it's a bag builder. Yeah. So you could feel the difference in pieces.
Oh, but you've got the nice.
I have the Geek Bit upgrade with the Geek Bit ones, right? So those aren't like, there's no Geek Bit ones for the new expansion. But then, even if I didn't, the thickness of this one compared to the retail one is completely off.
Oh, so even then you'd still be able to tell.
So now they're coming out with like an Orleans big box that has everything. And I'm like, come on.
Oh, that hurts.
Come on. So you're better off if you want to wait for Orleans with everything to just wait for the big box. But
What I don't want to wait for is, I know he's got one more game.
Oh yeah.
So I want to know what that other game is.
Yeah, so this other game is a Rolling Realms realm that I've never played before. That is one of those games that I just know through Rolling Realms. And there's so many of them that I just haven't touched within that game. But it's Honeybuzz. Yeah. And it's a fun worker placement game that you're essentially trying to build your hexes that you're taking. So you place a worker or you retrieve them, and essentially you place a tile and you get to do a certain action with it. And I've played this. This is one of the games that, so I'm that person in the game group that I'm given games to learn and then teach afterwards. So I learned this and I played it solo, and I'm hoping to play it this Saturday with the folks that own it, and I'm just in possession of right now. And it's fun. Like they have the deluxe edition, and the deluxe bits are so nice within this game. It's if you get the decked out version of this, it is those pieces are super nice. They're like a sticky kind of feel to them, so they're not going to move around or whatnot.
Oh, that's cool.
But you're working through trying to essentially build a hive, and depending on on the tiles, there's little red corners outlines on them, and depending on how that outline is closed off determines what type of pollen or not type of pollen, type of honey that you can build or put into that spot. And so, and then as you go through the game, you can then produce that honey to complete orders, to do, there's like 3 achievement goals that are there throughout the game that you can have. And so you're working through to produce those, to sell them for orders for points. And there's like 2 small orders in each stack, and then 1 large order in another. And once you complete that order, you get to do an action that's below it. So like those cards in the lower right of the board, there's a symbol below it that allow you then to do like a forage action, or allow you to do another specific type of action related to that symbol, then that allows you to get an additional step with it. So it's really fun, and it's one of those that I was kind of hesitant going into it, because I'm like, there's a lot going on here, but I'm not great at tile placement. I don't know. I enjoy them, but it's not my most favorite aspect of like a mechanic in a game. And it really, like within the first 3 turns of the game, I'm like, yes, I love this game. Like it's going to be one that if it's asked to be brought to the table, it's simple enough of a teach, but there's enough strategy within it that can really change the play of it and the order of your actions that you want to take.
Todd has a question. Is Honeybuzz worth buying just for solo? Or is it really more of a multiplayer game from your experience?
So from my solo play of it, I think it's worth buying solo, because the bots do a good job of so like the left side of the board there, where you see like the red tokens in that.
Yeah.
Those are the forage like honey tokens that you're gonna take. You have to move around on to then gain to be able to place on your specific area. The solo does a really good job of moving. Those are like taking them off the board to block you in a way, to almost like force you to push it a little bit. And then there's also spots that it'll block on the top on both the left and right side for actions. So I think it does a really good job as solo for the actions that it has. So
interesting. Yeah. The question I see when I see games like this, because there's these games that look cute. Is this one of those games that looks cute but packs more of a punch than the cute? And
yes,
it seems like there's a lot happening in
Calico?
it.
Calico looks so cute, but
Yeah,
but my brain falls apart
Yeah.
every time I play Calico.
It's very constricting.
yeah.
But this has a lot more going on.
More involved.
for sure. But
Yeah.
I agree. I played this game one time and I loved it. And it was on my wish list for quite some time, and I just haven't ever like really pulled the
Oh
trigger.
no!
But it was
But it's
hard to get
really
for a
rich.
while.
Let's time
It was
code.
hard for a while.
Let's
yeah,
time code this and send it
It was-
over.
It was so hard to send this Lauren.
There you
No,
go.
so this was hard to get for a while because I remember it was for Christmas. My wife said, "Oh, I wanted to get you Honey Buzz," and then it just fell off the radar. But it still seems like it feels like one of those games that fell off the radar a little bit. But then if you go to cons, I see the deluxe-ified version
Yeah.
for sale with everything. So if you go to a PAX Unplugged or something like that, they know the value of the game and people are there buying it. So
By the way, Chewy, you were saying that he prefers multiplayer for this, but that's basically because he gets to play with his kids.
Ooh.
I forget because I've only played it once. Is there a family variant to this game, or is it just you just don't use some of the things?
I'm not positive. If there is, I may have ignored it, like I ignore it with Cascadia for the most part when I pull it out of the box. But not off the top of my head, I don't believe there is a family variant.
Yeah.
There's in the initial like starting patterns that because like you have 4 tiles that you start with as you build your hive. There's 2 different variants of those cards that it's either like a lighter friendly start or there's a more advanced start to it. That can make it a little more difficult to maybe get some of that honey to what you may be trying to build out towards. So
and it's got a bunch of expansions. So
yeah.
I mean, fall flavors. There's a mini honeypot mini expansion, the cornucopia mini expansion. There's a dice tower promo. So the fall flavors is the one that's arriving, I believe, for Rachel.
Yeah.
So
That comes out this year. Looks like.
yeah, that's due out. So
All right.
Good pick.
yeah.
awesome. Welcome to DJ Dan, by the way. I see DJ Dan in the chat.
What's up, DJ?
Hey,
man?
what up?
Yeah. Tyler, good choices, good
Mhm.
picks. Thank you as always. Again, keeping your streak more of it alive.
Of course.
We appreciate it.
Well, thank you, fellas, and we'll see you in chat.
Later.
Adios.
Later.
Yeah.
All right. I'll jump into my second and last game to talk
Yep.
about. For
Hit it.
today.
Hit it.
So I played a really long game over 2 days with Ian. The 2-player only game. And I'm gonna pull it up right now. It's called Imperial Struggle. So this game came out 2020. Let me share my screen. Yeah, where is it? Right over here. So Imperial Struggle was framed as the sequel to Twilight Struggle, a Cold War style board game, where it's the U.S. versus the USSR in the Cold War. This is France and Britain fighting each other in the 1700s, leading up eventually to the end with like the American Revolution and all that stuff. But it plays so differently. So if you're gonna play this game, having loved Twilight Struggle and want to jump in this, it plays completely real. There's some similarities, but it's really, really different. Like the board just looks kind of scary. You know, it's like this big circles and circles.
Well, that's a lot.
Now the thing is, it's very straightforward because look, those are lines, right? They attach to each other, and those circles are just different maps, right? So there's different maps you have to go up against. And the game is largely just a game of tug of war because down here is the tug of war track. And if you get all the way to your side, you win. And if I go all the way to my side, I win. Spoilers. Ian is British, so he wanted to be the Brits and not the French. So I took on the French.
Did you play this over 2 days because you didn't have enough time to finish it in one day?
We did it over 2 days because it took about 6 hours in total. But we did go over the rules together, and we did spend a lot of time like watching videos and stuff, like how to see some stuff because there was a lot of contradictions. And I have an earlier copy, which there's some errata, so that's been resolved. either way, I'm very eager to play this one again.
Okay.
I had an excellent time. If I'm given the choice now between Twilight Struggle and Imperial Struggle, I would do Imperial Struggle over Twilight Struggle. I still would do Twilight Struggle, especially if I picked it up used for $3 at a thrift store, like Marcel just did. But Imperial Struggle, I think, does a great job of being a 2-player intense tug of war, because now with Twilight Struggle, when you play cards, how it works is you play a card, I play a card, you play a card, I play a card, and the cards are either going to be your faction, my faction, or neutral. And if you play a card that's part of my faction, that card will affect immediately. Yeah. But if I play a card you play a card that's your faction, you choose if you want to play it for your action, or you play it for the points. This one, all the cards are just tiles, and they're placed in the center in like a draft kind of format. You take one, do your thing. I take one, do my thing. You take one, do your thing, etc. So it's long. It's great. I will play it again, and that's Imperial Struggle.
Cool. I just want to point out,
struggle is real.
I just want to put it, every time I hear someone who enjoys heavy games say it's really straightforward. I know
it is. No, it is.
No, I'm not saying it's not straightforward. That usually it follows with it only takes 4 hours or something.
It does take a long time.
Yeah, I just think it's funny how that goes. It's nothing against the game, because I think the length of the game, I would say a game can take 4, 5, 6 hours, but doesn't have to feel long. So the best.
Well, this would probably take you less time when you're second play, right?
Yeah, probably still 4 hours. Probably 4 hours as opposed to 6. No, it's true. It probably will be 4 hours.
All right.
You know.
Well, Anthony, I want to talk about a game.
Be my guest.
And I know that you've played it because we played it together.
How intriguing.
And it was my birthday was in May.
Happy birthday.
And one of the things for my birthday that I try to do is get just a game night with some people. And you came over. You were one of the people who came over, and we played a game of Raiders of the North Sea with, I'm going to clarify, with every expansion.
4 expansions?
It's 2.
Oh.
So there's the main game and the 2 expansions. So we played Raiders of the North Sea. This is a game that if you've heard me talk about it a little bit. Yes, by the way, I am on the Nerd Shelf. Judy, the second half of the Nerd Shelf channel. We are birthday twins.
There you go.
Yeah. But Raiders of the North Sea. So I wanted to bring it up because I know Anthony played it for the first time. I already know your opinion on it, but I'm okay with that. But I wanted to hear Anthony's opinion on it. So I wanted to bring it up, not as much for me to talk about, but I wanted to first share. We played this with both expansions, which I think add some really critical things, some different resources, some different ways to score points, some different cards into the mix,
right?
And some different ways to actually pick the cards you want. So you're not just drawing up 2 random cards, but you're actually saying, I want this card. I also get essentially a beer for doing it. Mm-hmm. With all expansions, is the optimal way to play this game. I do think the base game is good, but it becomes it goes up significantly in how good it is when you add the expansions. But I was intrigued because we played this game. We played it 3-player. I'm not going to call it a short game either, because you're going to play for 2 hours minimum at that, in my opinion. Just
with everything.
Yeah, with everything. Yeah, it definitely. I don't think it adds a ton to the time of the game, especially once you know how to play. I was playing with 2 new players, so that's part of it as well. But I was intrigued.
And they weren't. I mean, the expansions were not overly complicated.
No,
which is why you threw them all out there.
Correct.
The first time. What I think is really interesting is that the thing that I enjoyed and found unique about this game is kind of the thing that you don't like about this game,
which is funny.
And that's the worker placement mechanism in this game.
Yeah.
It's a worker placement game where there's no spot that you go to get more workers,
right?
Which is usually one of the first strategies that you try to employ in those types of games, to get more workers so you can do more stuff. What's cool about this is that you're basically always going to do 2 things on your turn, because you're going to put 1 worker down, and you don't really own the workers, right?
Nope.
That's the other thing. They don't belong to you. They're just there. You have 1 to start. You're going to put it down, do whatever action that is, and then somewhere else on that section of the board, pick up a worker and do with that one section that you just picked
Yep.
up from. And I found that really interesting because I knew that there were kind of the same amount of options on every turn, but some of them were going to be blocked out, but not forever. And on my turn, the next turn, I might block it for somebody else who really wanted to use it.
Sure.
And I totally get your gripe with that, in that it kind of slowed the game down to you. Like, it felt you were grinding to get these very minimal, make these
Returns.
minimal strides
Yeah.
in the game. And I that kind of struck me as the enjoying part of it. Now, I don't remember everything about the expansions, but I remember, and you'll go correct me, but there was one part that I couldn't believe was not part of the original base game, right? On those sections that you get resources from for going there or taking off. Am I misremembering?
So there's a few things in the expansion. There's the board where you can pick the cards, and then you get the beer or the brew, right? But there's also the places. There was also the fact that it added all like the questing in.
That's what it was. It
which was an
questing.
additional
It's
way
sort
to
of like
score
a
points.
contract fulfillment kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yes.
And that contract fulfillment adds another way to score points when you realize it's not worth me going after the higher spots on the board because someone else is going to clear these out and I don't want to lose any more people, because there's the Valkyrie track that it's great to lose people in those moments. That's why I won the game.
Is it this one, Hall of Heroes or Fields of
Do
Fame?
Fields of Fame.
Fields of Fame.
Do Fields of Fame real quick for me, and I just want to double check one thing. Well, Fields of Fame adds these hero characters in and on the side of a board, but actually, if you do the other one, it is actually the other one. That's the one that adds the quest.
Crew was very fun as well.
Yes,
because you're not gonna benefit from everything they have to offer. You kind of have to make a choice on how you want to utilize them, and I found that interesting as well.
Yeah, and the Nerd Shelves has a good point. The beer also gives your crew more strength.
Right.
So, I mean, going to some of those battles, it's the difference of you maybe getting +2 points or to +4 points, where you were depending on a dice roll.
Yeah.
You kind of knew I was going to be able to get this.
Mhm.
So it mitigates dice luck a little bit. But yeah, if you look on the board, there's actual after a spot was revealed, then a quest gets revealed
That's what I was
there,
thinking of,
and you're able to claim those quest
I was
spots.
surprised that wasn't
That's
part
cool.
of the base game.
Yeah.
So if that's something that you didn't play with that first time,
Didn't play
I don't
with
know
it.
if that'll change your mind, because
Yeah.
again, the worker placement board is not different.
Yeah.
I think if you don't like the worker placement part, that's not going to change it. But I think it does add to the.
Well,
fun
with
of the
more
game.
options, you're going to get more points, so you're going to feel like you're doing more. Maybe, I think. But
Yeah. But anyways, I wanted to bring that one up.
Yeah,
it was
I
on my
enjoyed it a lot.
list, but I thought it was hearing it from you was a different experience. So, and traveling with Todd, oh man, I wish I had that mat. It's the one thing I don't have. I have everything else, but that mat.
All right, so crime code 12006 by Chris.
Yeah, if you can find that damn thing for a reasonable price.
Raiders. There you go.
Man.
Look at that. Got both your
cool
ticket items there.
Awesome. And just so everybody knows, right around 10:30, one way or the other, we're going to jump into our reviews for the night.
Yeah. If you wanted to call in, now's the time to do it.
So if anyone does want to call in,
last call for calls.
last call for call aboard here. Yeah. And then we'll hope you'll stick around with us for some reviews, because we got some good games to cover here.
But now
maybe
Anthony,
not all good games, actually. I don't know.
All right, I'll bring up one more that got to the table a few times between April and sort of May, with that little bit of a gap that we had. And this was, it wasn't on my top 20, but it was definitely in the mix, and so probably top 50. It's a cooperative game called WonderWoman. Challenge of the Amazons.
This was on your list in the past, was it not?
It may have been.
Or it's been on a list for me.
I've definitely mentioned it before, but we recently got it back to the table with some plays.
That's so funny. I was considering suggesting this after our stream.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Have you played? That's your unplayed pile?
That's my unplayed pile.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You're right. I did talk about this recently, so I apologize if I repeat myself.
I was not recently. It was just on a list at some point.
Okay. But it's a cooperative game where the cool thing is, so you're working together, obviously, to defeat like a big bad, and you have 3 villains you can choose from. I believe Ares is the first person they suggest to go through. But on this map, on the island, you're going to be moving your characters around, trying to eliminate these blockades. And again, I'm talking about the Ares scenario because every villain does something a little bit different.
Okay.
But in the Ares scenario, he's going to put these blockades, which are going to block the pathways going from some different areas to another. And also, he's going to be corrupting some Amazons that are going to make them a different color cube. So you're trying to get them back to normal, so to speak, before they kind of siege the center palace there. What's cool about this game, though, is that there's this planning stage where you'll get a certain amount of cards, and you're all allowed to talk about what you plan on doing based on what you have. But then there's this next phase, and I forget what they're called, but you get more cards face down, and now you're going to decide with all the cards that you have, what am I doing basically first, second, and third.
Oh, okay.
So thematically, it's interesting because in the book they even say once you're in the battle mode, there's no more talking because you're in the throes of battle, right? There's no time to plan anymore. If you're in the thick of it, it's you're battling now. But you may have gotten a card that really changes what you had in mind, right? And so this is sort of okay. Everybody reveal your first card, and you're like, well, sorry, I didn't really do what I said I was going to do. Not that you're like sabotaging, just like a trade or anything like that, but something may benefit you more. But on top of that, there's also cards that are going to buff each other too. So it's like, it might be something like if two of your two players play the same card, get this extra bonus or something like that. So I like it in that there's this planning stage that goes on, that plans can change and bad stuff can happen. You're always going to advance the bad stuff like in any other cooperative game. This is really, really a fun one. There's also, real quick, there's like these relics that you can find that do special bonuses as well. What I like about how that works in this game is that if you get a relic, you don't just automatically equip it to yourself. You're discovering it. And so now it's available on the board for everyone. And someone has to end their turn there later to then acquire the relic and attach it to yourself and do get the bonus that it kind of gives you. But yeah, if you've never played this one before, I think that has a little bit of a twist on the cooperative aspect where you're going to get some cards that you're not talking about, as opposed to a game where it's either fully
like a pandemic
open communication all the time, and then the opposite of that, like a Magic Maze where you can't talk at all the entire game and still figure it out. So I thought it was a cool little balance. I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
Yeah, interesting.
Like I said, I only played against Ares. There's the Cheetah and Circe, I believe is the last villain.
Yeah, it's up here.
And they all have a different amount of hit points and stuff that they do.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, with that, let's remind everybody what we were going to talk about reviewing tonight. You've got the list right there in the order that we're going to do it.
You want me to list them all right now?
Yeah.
All right. We're doing Freelancers. Harmonies is next. Knarr, PalmLabratory, and RearWindow will be ending.
All right.
So Freelancers first, then Harmonies.
Okay. Want to start with jump right into this if we have no other caller. Definitely open to your thoughts and comments as we do throughout the show, so stick around. But we're going to start by talking about Freelancers.
Freelancers, a Crossroads game from 2023, designed by Donald Schultz. Okay. There's a lot of art here. Chris Bryan, Allison Carl, Sam Amelli, Sean McCoy, Carl Sternberg from Plaid Hat Games. This game is it was cooperative. Yeah, it was
cooperative. We were making decisions together.
It's a cooperative, wild story kind of game. It's app-driven. It has voice acting, really solid voice acting for sure. Beautiful art. And they basically just walk you through all the tropes of like a dungeon crawly kind of thing. It feels a little bit Borderlandsy, like the video game Borderlands. I got that vibe,
especially with the way the acting was. There was some silliness and some fun. I will say I did enjoy kind of the vibe part of that silliness. It made I immediately accepted that was the world because it was obvious from the first moment you played.
Yeah. This game is in that Crossroads series, and this was the one I believe that came right after Forgotten Waters, the pirate one, right?
Which I have not played.
Which I also have not played. But they sound to be very similar because on your turn you're going to be in all the turns are together. You're going out, your party is moving on, you're reaching a specific destination. And then once you do, you're deciding where to place your worker out on the book. You have a little bit of time to talk about it, but you're really just boom, 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 rushing your stuff down. And it doesn't really tell you what it's doing other than giving you hints on what you're going to be doing based on what skills may be needed. But it's like, I don't know, talk to this weird guy in the corner or pick up a violin, or I don't know. It's just, it's just little things like that. And then you move on, you do all the things that it tells you to do, and then you move on to the next place down your
and you're making
your adventure.
And you're making those decisions as a team of this is where we're going to go. This is what there are things you're collecting. You're like joining guilds. Is it guilds that we're joining throughout? Is that? I believe guilds is the right word here. And you're able to get into these guilds and do all these things. I was hardly ever to get into a damn guild, so I was actually frustrated as I played this because you all have like 3 or 4 guilds.
Well, everyone has a different role too.
Yeah.
Right. So you were you the cartographer, or was Barrows the cartographer?
You know, I don't even remember.
I don't remember because one of the things is everyone has different roles.
Right. Ian was the scout.
Yes.
Right. He controls like how like damage kind of.
There was and that was cool that there was different. It got everyone involved with an aspect of the play.
Yeah, I was the app controller because it was on my phone. There's the medic, right? I think
maybe I was the medic.
I think you were the medic.
I was the medic.
Oh, okay. You were.
I was the medic. Yeah,
you were the cartographer.
Yeah,
you're probably controlling the map.
Yeah, but you were making decisions. You were. The question I had, and this is where my frustration came, was I didn't know how much the decisions mattered from time to time as we played this game.
Oh, correct. Sorry, Eddie. Web app, not mobile app. That's correct. Thank you.
That is an important difference. I did. So my issue with it as we played, it was not a short game, and that's fine. Doesn't need to be a short game. The acting, the voice acting, I thought was very immersive. I enjoyed it. But at a certain point, as we were playing this game, I just have I've got the memory in my head of still was like, we almost done. And I was sad that we had that feeling because we looked so forward to playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely at a point where I was like, I didn't know that the decisions were mattering all that much. It was kind of hard to make some of those decisions, I think, for some reason that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Like of just, I didn't necessarily know that I had what I needed to beat it. And then it was a completely different skill that we turned out we needed. And I don't know, it didn't land for me. And I wanted it to land for me because I love stories. If anyone has heard me on here talk about Betrayal or other things where these ridiculous stories came out of it without an app telling me, I love that experience of the story. I don't know, something didn't hit for me with this. And I know the app took us through it, but I don't know that I could take someone new into this either, which is what I felt like I was expecting the app to do, just walk us through. I still felt we were referencing things a lot more than we should have when I wanted the app to guide me.
I agree with most of what you're saying. I think it was too long for what it was doing.
Yeah.
I think it was a fun-ish experience. And I will echo what you said about the app is fantastic. I mean, the voice acting, the storyline was
so
great.
Good.
There just wasn't much of a game.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And to your point, it was kind of like, all right, this should wrap up soon. And the ending was very anticlimactic.
That was, yeah.
And I mean, this is no joke. We were on the way over here, and he was like, "We're going to review Freelancers," and I forgot that I even played this game.
Yeah,
honestly, it was that forgettable for me.
Yeah,
so
which is crazy for how long we played it.
I know,
and Eddie does bring up a good point. You can save it through the game.
Okay,
that does not solve the ending part where it was basically I don't want to ruin it, but like the ending was basically. What it did, like it just kind of was like hit brick wall, done.
If we saved, would you come back?
Probably because you want it to resolve itself in a.
But like I feel like I want to just get to that end. We were all wanting to get to that end, and we're expecting a lot from it for that end.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. It got a lot of things right except for the game itself, which there pretty much wasn't. Right. You just drop your thing, you roll some dice, and then you find out
It's almost like it would have been better as an escape room type game, especially with the narrative.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I see Eddie bringing up that you can save the game and also that there are different endings to it.
Right.
And I was actually talking to Eddie about an escape room game from. It is not the Exit series, but it's from them. It's from
Unlock?
Cosmos?
Yeah.
No, it's Adventure Games. Adventure Games.
Okay.
It was a dungeon thing. Same deal. It was like a stories that you could stop and save the game along the way, but it was much more of a build up to what was happening. So bottom line, I don't know. I'm around like a 5, 5.25 maybe for this one.
I'm a 5.6.
Okay.
I was a 5.5.
I go 5.5 too.
Hey, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You guys copy my homework?
No, that's what I have.
All right, cool.
And again, to the point that the endings can be different. I don't want spoilers for him because I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy this. But literally, the best way I can describe it was brick wall ending. That's the best way I can describe it. Brick wall. Yeah, unfortunately, but kudos. So yeah, let's talk about the one that I know for a fact that at least the Nerd Shelves has played recently because I watched them play it, and that is Harmonies. So we also played this for the patrons after one of the recent streams as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is one of those games that, first and foremost, you had made the initial purchase on this.
Yeah, and man, came out 2024, designed by Johan Benvenuto. Artist is Maiva da Silva from Littlewood.
Yeah, and
I probably mispronounced a lot. I'm sorry.
And in Harmonies, you are doing you're creating this landscape and this habitat with these beautiful animals, with these cards that have beautiful art on them. Unfortunately, and I'm going to be mostly positive, but I have to be upfront in saying the first production of this, those cards are warped.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
and the board too.
It does not. Yeah, and the board. No matter who you talk to, I'm finding they are warped. So that was that was honestly the biggest negative you're going to hear about from me in this game, because in this game you are going to be creating this habitat full of animals, different pieces of nature, from water to treetops, which are grass, I guess, if it's just on the ground. Yep. So with very helpful, which I thought was what really well done, was the little cards just of your guide that goes next to your board that tells you what each piece means, how it scores. So your handy little helper guide is right there. And on your board, you're going to be able to add up to 4 animals at a time, though if you complete an animal, as you get animals, you're going to be actually putting those little pieces as you see on the board.
Yeah.
So those little cubes are essentially the animals when you create the patterns.
Yeah.
The biggest thing about this game for me, we've talked about Calico, we've talked about Cascadia, we've talked about Burden. I feel like we've talked about these all tons of times. This is, for me, almost a perfect balance of Calico and Cascadia in a game. And I just can only say this as the best description of why this game is now in my house is I took this home, I played it with my wife, played it with my kids. My wife, when I was taking it back to your house for us to play it after a stream, said, "That's coming back home, right?" I have heard that once in my life. That was with Cascadia. So for me, great player aids, beautiful art. Overall gameplay is very you can make some really good strategic decisions, but my brain never hurt in this one for me. Like, there's some tough decisions, but my brain's not like
it's not Calico for that.
No. So that's why I say perfect balance for me of those two, which are 2 games I really enjoy.
And one thing to note too, it does come with different ways to play, right? There's this more restricted version, I feel like, and then the flip side, I think I prefer better, where you can actually split up the board into multiple islands to score. Which I like that, and I like starting out with the asymmetric starting powers, so you get different bonuses that you could. I forget what they're called, like the spirits or something, where it's essentially an animal, but It's a clear cube, so it doesn't take up the slot of an animal. And the thing I like about this game over Cascadia, I like that I'm trying to do these patterns little by little instead of focusing my entire game on doing these patterns with the animals. I like doing the little by little approach. I finish this animal, I move on to the next one. I finish this animal, I move on to the next one. And finding the animals that will work best in the habitats that I have, and finding what animals work best with what animals I already have, what will play off of each other.
Yeah.
You know? So I like that aspect a lot. These kinds of games, like Cascadia, Calico, like a lot of these tile laying kind of games like this, they usually don't ring out to me, you know. But I did prefer this one over Cascadia personally.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. It is pretty much a combination of what you said. I think it's an apt title because you're really trying. There are optimal moves out there with the best harmony that could possibly happen.
Sure.
By some of these stacks doing double duty, right, or triple duty, and possibly scoring in multiple aspects. So that's really cool. That adds another element past Cascadia for this one as well. And I think we also, Chris talked about, compare this a little bit to Reef, with that sort of those leveled stacking things that are
and looking face down
score and from the top up. I think I definitely like this better than Reef.
I like this a lot better than Reef, but it's that stacking. I agree.
Yeah. So I mean, I've only got one play of this, so this is a game that I think my rating will go up easily after multiple plays.
And I will set up a play with the opposite side of the board for you for sure. That you got to see that side.
I saw some people talking about this one too, right?
Yeah, this is getting some good.
Nerd Shelf saying it feels like Calico in the decisions without being as restrictive as Calico like Cascadia. Yeah, definitely. And that the restriction in Calico is the thing that just takes me out of Calico.
Sure.
You know, like I don't like that.
Rachel does mention Reef, and I agree it's similar to Reef. I didn't personally. Reef was a little simpler because Reef you were stacking based on the car. I don't know. Reef seems like
Reef was all about what you saw from the top down.
It was all about top down. So this has a lot more level to it in that. But
it also reminds you a little bit of Takenoko, which is one of my favorite games where you're trying to score based on the orientation of the different land tiles.
Yeah.
In addition to the stacks, the size of the stacks of the different colors of bamboo on each of those tiles.
Yeah.
And the bamboo that you have eaten as your panda. So I like that there's the possibility for something to benefit you on one turn, continue to benefit you on another turn, and possibly set you up for other good opportunities as well. Really
and to that point that you mentioned earlier, because I'm able to draft these animals and have up to 4 of them,
right?
I could be working on more than one at a time, fill the card, do this. So I am thinking on my feet as I'm playing this game, which I definitely enjoyed.
So the couple of notches I do want to talk about. I would not play this game at a high player count.
Yeah.
I feel like there'd be a lot of downtime.
What does it go up to?
I think it went up to 4 or 5.
Okay, I would say.
I have played this at 2. I played it at 3, and I played it at 1.
Okay.
And I was fine with it at those counts. I don't think I want to add a 4th.
Yeah, I think 4 would just be too much. Honestly, I think 2 is my preferred go for this too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did like the Azul kind of coaster thing.
Sure.
It's not exactly Azul.
Right. I get what you're saying though. Yeah.
Options. I do like that aspect for sure. But yeah, I feel like in a solo, I don't really care for in this one personally.
You're just trying to score as many out.
Yeah,
I liked it because I found it super relaxing.
Okay.
So from my perspective, the solo worked as just a relaxing kind of just like I do want to beat my score, but I like those things.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
There's also it's 2 ways the game could end. It's going to end either when that bag is empty of tiles,
which I've never seen,
or when
no more spaces,
or when one player has 2 or less spaces.
That bag empty must be 4 players because I have not seen it.
And you don't change the number of things that are in there based on player count, right?
Right.
Yeah.
No. So I've just never.
Because at most the tallest thing you're making is three tiles tall.
So initial rating for me, I'm at like a 7.4, and I expect that to be higher after more plays of this.
I was expecting your rating to be a lot higher.
Wow, it's just the first time.
Yeah.
I gotta do it again.
All right, I played it a bunch.
And I wanted to do it again.
Yeah.
Which is no why.
And we
the
will.
way I know that I like.
Well,
it.
I'm scheduling a double dip. We're going to do that in patterns.
Okay.
There we go.
So I played it a bunch at different player counts and with different modules and stuff like that. But I still give it a 7.1. I feel like it's a solid. So here's the thing. I think it's still a solid entry level game for sure. I would recommend so many other entry level games though over it. You know what I mean? Like it's got little bits of this and that, but there's some games I would I would recommend Azul over Harmonies all the time
for entry level, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even then, I would prefer playing Azul than
Okay.
Harmonies personally, because again that downtime and just some of the placements and sometimes too the cards that come out for the animals, like
Not benefit.
it just it doesn't benefits me. It doesn't benefit anybody.
Yeah.
No one's drawing those cards, and you're kind of just gridlocked and stuck, and then you got to focus on like the terrain. You know?
Yeah. Well, I guess that's one of the upsides of a game like Cascadia, where there's opportunities to kind of wipe the board, so to speak.
Okay.
With the tableau, that's the market, I should say, that's available to you.
I'll say this. I think it's interesting we talked about Calico, could talk about Cascadia, because this falls right in between for me. Cascadia is still going to be higher for me. But I did really, really like this one. This definitely falls into my wheelhouse. If anyone who's listened to the games I like, this is one of those ones that I like the little puzzle that's happening. There is a puzzle. I did ultimately think at 2 or 3 players is great. I actually did like it best at 2. I'm going to echo what you said. I liked it best at 2. It was not bad at 3.
Yeah.
I don't think. I loved it at 2 though. And it's an 8.7 for me because I just really liked it. Cascadia is in the 9s. Calico is below this one, but this ultimately, if you told me I could only, and I don't necessarily would never have this decision to make, I would keep all 3. But if you told me I had to get rid of 1 and then those were the 3, I would easily say buy Calico just because this, what it did.
Well, today's your lucky day because we're gonna make you make that decision right now.
Nah, you're not doing that.
solid game in Harmonies.
Yeah, solid
Harmonies.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we got Knarr.
All right, I set this one out because I have not played this game.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it came out 2023. Designer Thomas Dupont. Artist Carrion Antoine. Publisher is Bombix. Go ahead, talk about Knarr.
So Knarr, it's very interesting. Knarr, I first played multiple plays through on Board Game Arena, which was a strong, I think, well done design for Board Game Arena. They did a good job with this, and it was really interesting. First play that I did of Knarr, I didn't even read the rules, just trying to figure it out, and I was intrigued immediately at looking at it, and then I did my real read through of the rules. In Knarr, you have a board in front, that a board where you're going to have your victory points that are being tracked, but you've also got a board where cards are located directly below a variety of these symbols. Those symbols, if you bring that up, as you play cards, you're also going to be able to pull a card off of this board for free based on the symbol that was on that card. And so a nice thing to, or you can spend cost, which is spend the cost of, now the word is in my mind, it's the,
well, so you like, if you play a blue card, you get the blue card.
No, but I'm trying to think of the name of the workers, or on the left-hand side of my board. The recruits, that's the word. So you have recruits that allow you to maybe get one that is not one of the free ones. So you do have some choice. But as you're playing this, you're also going to be trying to build up your resources in the sense of your actual cards that you're playing. And by spending them to buy the cards on the market that are going to go then above your board. And you can continue to build that tableau of cards in front of you, all to buy those cards to put above, because then you're spending your other resource to activate all the rows, potentially up to all 3 rows of the cards that you've purchased. So there's multiple actions taking place here.
Oh, you're talking about the trade.
But exactly. But the biggest thing here is you might want to take your time, because as you're playing the cards down, you're getting all of the actions on the colored card. So if you go scroll down on that one, go to the previous one. Yeah, you'll notice all of the action symbols here for blue. If I play a blue down, I'm now going to get whatever I'm playing down plus the 2 actions above it.
So all that stuff in that row.
It's
correct.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so you're really thinking about multiple ways to score. Also, as you're moving along the one track on the main board, depending where you get at the end of every turn, you're also going to get a chance to do. You're also going to get a chance to get a point or maybe 2 points at the end of every round. So depending how far you go on those. So there's a variety of ways to score in this game. And I think what Knarr did really well was outside of the gameplay, itself, which is really smooth. The quality of the art, the card stock, every accent, the production of this game is just really good.
They come in tuck boxes.
And let me tell you, it makes a difference when you physically play this game, because we did get to physically play this game with Danielle.
Yep.
And that was incredibly fun. And that's when I was sold on this game, because there's so many cool different actions to take in this way, so many different ways to score, and everyone can take a different approach. But ultimately, I felt like there was usually 1 or 2 people who were really competing at the end.
Yeah.
I do think like there might be a 3rd or 4th player who's trailing.
Well, I love this engine board. This engine board right here, where you're just going to be constantly generating points when you're on that. Because the game ends as soon as one player hits 40 points or passes it. We play until everyone's got an equal amount of turns, and then that's it.
Okay,
that's game over.
Yeah.
So you could be in this position where you're generating points every round, because every turn, when it's your turn, wherever you are on the track, how many points you're getting. You're getting 2 points, 3 points, all the way up to 5 points. You know, so it's a lot of, do I focus on this tableau I'm building, or do I spend these cards to purchase these, I forget what they're called, like expeditions or whatever.
I don't know the exact word off the top of my head.
Know.
It doesn't matter though, because the core concept is you see the symbols on them, you stack them on top of each other above your board, and then you can spend
your bracelets
to essentially say, I'm going to spend 3 bracelets, and we're going to spend every one of these actions. Meaning, if I had, say, the top, the 2 to the right, and then the 1 in the bottom middle, all of those actions are going to take place. Boom, 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 boom. And that's huge. I mean, you think about what that could mean. So,
and the feelings I get with this game, right, is that I'm either in a position where I'm going to be in one of 2 things. So far behind of like, how did you just jump so far ahead of me? Or I'm that person ahead. That's how this game has gone so far. And I love every moment of that. Like,
you don't mind when you're behind for some reason in this one, because you're kind of at all.
Well, there's times where you can really like push your luck. Like, okay, maybe I still focus on my tableau. I'm building this tableau, but I could ditch cards from my tableau to jump up 8 points to catch up to the person in the lead. So I love those trade-offs, which is why I'm really loving Knarr.
So Judy has a great question, by the way. Do you
up?
think the game could be any theme, or does it fit perfectly?
I don't know. I mean, Vikings. I don't really.
I think
I guess you could do anything.
I think it works, but I think you could. I think you can mix and match, but I think it does work.
Theme. Now,
I think it worked.
There's a caller on the wings who has played Knarr.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
And I'm gonna just pull him in because he's finished from soccering.
Yes.
So let's bring him on in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Hello, Mr.
What's up?
Hey, gents, how's it going?
It's good. It's good to see you, man.
Yeah.
Obviously, we are talking. I know you've played Knarr.
I've played lots of
doing
Knarr.
a review of Knarr. We see you in the wings. We got to ask you your thoughts on Knarr from your plays of this.
So I have played this. I think I've played it at every player count, multiple times at every player count. This is actually coming out to my game night that I host at my local game store, and I've taught many of groups this, and it's always been a smash hit.
Yeah.
There is something so clever about this game, and by all means, I can't put my finger on the pulse of why I love it so much, but I think it's the elegance of the game, where it's just, hey, I'm either playing down some cards or I'm cashing in with my sets for some bigger bonuses. But I love that engine building of when you do go out on those explorations and you kind of get that tableau building at the very top, and all of a sudden you're starting to cash in bracelets. I'm getting bracelets, cashing in bracelets, and I'm playing down cards, get points. And something that's very overlooked is that variant with those other cards where it's like, hey, if you get a set of all of the colors in your tableau, then some sort of bonus triggers.
Oh yeah.
I've started just playing with that as just like a base rule at this point, because I feel like it doesn't add complexity to the game at all. It's just, hey, I get an extra thing if I did this. Knarr is like, it's climbing up as one of my favorite card games of the past year.
I think it's just that race. I think the big thing is that race to the finish, because you are building your engine, and you're either going to be getting points little by little and then lottle by lottle, or am I going to ditch some of my engine to catch up and surpass this person?
Yep.
I think it's the trade-offs in that race to 40 points is what really pulls me into Knarr.
And it's because of that race, the game does not overstay its welcome.
Oh, it does
not at all.
It's a very snappy game. You can get multiple games of this in a night session if you really, really wanted to.
I like that you described the elegance of it, though, because that is part of it. Because you look at this on a table, just because it looks good doesn't necessarily mean it's a good game, right? But when you combine how well this game plays with that appeal of that elegance that you described, it just makes for an overall great experience. And you're going to have someone come by and say, what is this? This is one of those games that I will not be shocked if I just see, all over the table at a con, and just have some people constantly come up as you're playing it. Just because.
At my local game nights, I have people just look over the shoulder like, what is that? I'm like, hold on, like 5 minutes. This will wrap up. I'll reset it. You jump in. Because it's going to be over like in that quick. So it's like, there's something about this. It's climbing up. It's very fun. I love playing it. If you're on Board Game Arena, hit me up, MistaRau. I'll play this game anytime. All player counts.
There you go.
All player counts.
Awesome.
Man, what endorsements.
Yeah. No, thanks for chiming in on that one. I mean, I don't know where you scored
I'm
this
an 8.
one.
My rating's an 8 for this one.
What's yours? Also really, really liked it. I liked it better than Harmonies.
Okay.
8.8.
8.8.
Yeah, this flew up. It's not quite where Scout jumped up when I first played Scout, but like this is that Scout level of like, holy crap, I love this.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's hit with a lot of different type of gamers as well. Gamers that like heavy games really, really like this one. This is very approachable for people that are just getting into the hobby. There's not a huge rules overset for it. So the frontal load, that cognitive load on just getting into the game is not huge. You can jump into this one.
Oh yeah,
really fast.
Oh man.
Yeah, I tied with DJ Dan. Look at that. 8 out of 10.
Nice.
Same here.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well,
nice.
Thanks for jumping in for that impromptu review, man. Appreciate it. It's good to see you.
That was actually one of the games I was actually going to talk about. And then when I logged in, I'm like, hey, they're already talking about it.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
I actually was, because I had it at a local game night just this last Friday. So
awesome.
I think I played it like 3 times that. I think I played it 3 times that night.
Well, we'll sneak you in for one more game, and then we have to jump back into reviews.
Okay.
Unless it's the game we're going to be reviewing.
Oh,
which I don't think it is.
It's not.
It's definitely not.
It's definitely not. Okay. Well, of my options, I have to go with something that I have been absolutely adoring, and it was the feature game at my game night at Amazing Stories, and that was Let's Go to Japan.
Ooh.
Did it have the bowls?
Damn bowls.
I do not have dem bowls.
Oh man!
Did not
get out of here.
But I did manage to swing onto AEG's website because they had some of the deluxe editions with the nice wooden components on their website. So I managed to swing in and snag that. But Let's Go to Japan, because you have to say it that way, right?
Yeah. Let's go
to Japan.
Yeah.
This is such a, I don't know. This is another one that has just been a surprise hit. The rules overhead is not huge. It eventually just ends up being just a select set collecting game, but the order in which you collect your sets actually has to matter, because you're just going to be planning out your trip to Japan by drafting out these cards that you're either visiting Tokyo or Kyoto, and you have to fill your day, each of the days, with 3 activities, at least 3 activities. There's ways to play more activities, but I'll skip that part for right now. But yeah, as you and then you're going to score the cards. You have to gain your icons, your sets of these icons that represent the different things like shopping and eating and visiting temples. Eventually, what the top card is that you'll see at the very bottom of everybody's there is that you're going to have a highlight of the day. And that is, if you meet those requirements before you get to that day, you're actually going to get some bonus points and maybe some bonus icons. And you're just really trying to collect as many of those different sets as possible to score some points. And then you have this thing that's the happiness or stress track. I can't remember what you call it, but I call it getting happy and then being stressed. And if you can push it as far away to one side, you get good points. If you get too stressed, you can push it to the other level, you get stressed points type things. Oh, I loved it. I love it.
It's the neat thing about this, and I got to play this with Anthony.
Yeah.
We brought it all to the table. The bowls were out, everything, and I just remember the neat thing being it felt really unique just because you build it and then you figure out what the score It's like you're not really you can't keep track of the score during, because it's all going to score as you get to the end.
Right.
Yeah,
and then you're going to kind of go through your trip and see what happened. But you might want, by the way, that stress, because there are places where if you have stress, it actually, some of that stress might mean more points in your actual cards. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can be able to play it. And you're also going to be able to earn things based on when you complete your rows, based on if you match up to those tokens at the top, which are randomized. There's so many different ways this game scores.
Yeah, it's kind of like
at the same time, it's over before you know it, and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
and my favorite thing, and I wonder if you feel the same, Anthony, was the handoff on the cards, because you've got the cards, you're picking it, and then you're saying, all right, this is your card.
Right.
He doesn't see the card that I put. I just put it down. I hand it to him face down, and now that's his card that he's going to have to deal with later on and make a choice on where he's going to put it. So you have an interaction with each other that you do kind of care what the other people are doing, because you might say, well, oh man, you don't want to.
This is my favorite part. This is one of my favorite parts.
Looking at this, you don't want to have to use all your travel tokens. You want to be able to stay in the same city as long as possible, because if you're forced to go from one to another, you're eventually going to start having negative points. So
just like in real life.
So you want to break it up, and that adds potentially stress to your trip. This plays so well. The iconography at the top just tells you how you can score these bonuses with the 1, 2, or 3 based on how many you have of a certain symbol to match in those rows. And I would play with that expansion with the Sunday just because it's no reason not to. Quite frankly, I really like this one. I had a lot of fun playing this.
I did too.
Yep.
This was really good.
And Tyler hit it too, that if you do play with the Sunday expansion in the actual score book, they didn't actually include a spot to score the Sunday.
Yep.
So you kind of have to score. I score like just Saturday and Sunday, or depending on where you put, because you have the option of putting Sunday either before Monday, or you have the option of putting Sunday after Saturday. It all depends on when you want to start your trip. Do you start your trip on your Monday, end on a Sunday, or do you start it on Sunday, end on Saturday? You have that option.
And not to mention, by the way, that board on the top, that you are thinking about how far I'm going to move this down to get the points from just the tokens themselves moving down the board. So there's a bunch of different ways you're scoring points in this one. This one flies. You talk about a game that doesn't overstay its welcome. This one was fantastic, and I learned this in like 5-10 minutes. Almost as soon as I had the game, played it with you, taught it to you, and we played almost a perfect game, no mistakes, just like that, which is impressive. So
Yeah, I taught this that night. I believe, the teach was only about that 5 to 10 minutes. Got them running, and they ran through the game in like 40 minutes.
Nice.
And that was including the scoring round too. Like you're just okay. I picked a card, passed the card. There's one round. Pick the card, pass the card. There's another round, and you go through 12 of them of this picking and passing. Eventually, I like that middle round where you're picking 2, passing 2. That's always a really fun. That's a really fun part of the game that kind of really speeds it up in that middle part.
you need to play this one.
Yeah, I want to try it.
You got to play this one because this
Yep.
will not be leaving my collection ever.
Now
at this
imagine
rate.
like if there's a expansion that is like a precursor, like your flight over.
Oh my god!
You
That's,
gotta like
I was gonna say
play
this game
cards
is
like going through TSA and I don't know.
usually
Get your
Josh's
passport renewed.
Josh's games are usually meant to be enjoyable. So no, I hope not.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
TSA.
and that'll be the precursor to how you start your trip to Japan.
Well, I think I read somewhere that basically the inspiration for the design of this game was he was planning on going to Japan.
Yeah, and then COVID
and
happened.
then COVID happened.
Yeah,
So
they
he didn't
made
get to
some
go.
last
So
minute.
Yeah.
this was basically he was planning a trip to Japan, didn't get to go, so he turned it into a game. And
Yep.
he's someone who I have spoken to in the past. Eventually, will be on Creators Corner. I don't want to say when because that's conversations for
Yes,
with him. But I know he's said he'd come on sometime, so I will hopefully have him on at some point this year if all goes well.
Josh was lingering around and was answering our questions at Dice Tower West while we were playing Let's Go to Japan. So
Yeah.
Amanda Panda from Twitch, she was the game runner. She taught us how to play, but then Josh was just sitting at the table with us, just answering our questions and telling us little tidbits of where certain pieces of the game design happened and why did he do this versus do that. It was a phenomenal experience.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Josh,
Yeah.
designer of Santa Monica, which another one that you had
Highly underrated game.
So,
Santa Monica, highly underrated.
highly, I agree.
I gotta play that one too.
All right, we got two for a night.
Yeah, Josh Wood Knight.
Josh
Wood Knight.
There we go. Well, MistaRau, it is great to see you. Confirm for me, you're back. I know you're not doing live stuff, but you are going to be putting some content out in June, if I'm not mistaken.
Starting this Sunday, I will release what has been happening in May. Spoiler alert, not very much.
Oh,
I will give you an update of my crazy life that has been soccer and football and swimming and
oh my
I believe
gosh.
we only have 2 days of the week that are not filled up with something.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But I have to get back to it. I've been itching. I've got a bunch of pre-recorded stuff, like a solo play of Let's Go to Japan is going to be coming out really, really, really shortly, as well as this little guy,
Oh
Gloomhaven,
yeah.
Buttons and Bugs. That's coming too.
Get your iron ready.
Oh yeah, those
flatten
cards. Those cards are terrible. Oh. I want to say that it was meant to be like a thematic thing of it's just like an extra added challenge.
Yeah.
Just because Gloomhaven isn't challenging enough, we have to also try to maneuver our pieces on these
Oh yeah.
slopey boards.
we could have ironed Harmonies and Gloomhaven
Oh yeah. We
together.
iron them all together. You know?
Yeah. So I got things packed in here pretty tight, trying to flatten them down,
Yeah.
but I don't know if that's going to happen. But yes, got a lot more content coming, a lot more Ashes Reborn stuff, some Summoner Wars stuff is going to be coming out, and then I got a whole bunch of pre-recorded things that every other night that I've had some time. It's going to be coming. I'm back, baby.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great to see you, my friend.
Absolutely.
Have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you in the chat.
Take care.
I know.
So we got two more
Last
reviews here.
reviews.
The next one that we have was a review copy. So that one is PalmLabratory.
Yeah. The last couple of games we bought.
Yeah, the last couple we bought. It's the same. From Portal Dragons. Previously, Palm Island, which I had bought a copy of it. One of the packs on plugs. Palm Island was definitely a game I had personally enjoyed. So when I had a chance to get a review copy of PalmLabratory, I said, sure, let's check it out. Neither one of you had played Palm Island. I just want to
Correct.
point that out. It's a hand management resource game. It's designed to be solo. You can take it anywhere. They say best at one. It is a one-player game.
It's a one-player only game.
But the game literally is, as I can't get it out of the thing.
So while you do that, it's designed by John Mitling, art by Magdalena Prozowski.
Yeah. And the game is designed to be played, it's a shocker, in the palm of your hand. And as you're playing the game, you're going to be going through with cards on their starting sides and choosing to play actions, not play actions. You can skip over, you can skip a card, but playing the free actions, you'll end up flipping cards over or flipping cards around, which will get you different resources or different costs, all in the end with the goal of scoring points and reaching certain point thresholds. It's similar in that sense to Palm Island. Now, I believe, and I want to double check this, with this one, they had a danger meter. That's why I wanted to hear what the name of it was. Yeah. They had this danger meter that was in there that you wanted to make sure
didn't reach the end.
Did not reach the end. Otherwise, you lose, which was a change because I will say in Palm Island, it was really just about reaching a certain score threshold. It wasn't that much about losing, winning, losing for me when I played that one. This had kind of that end game scenario.
Now this has a bunch of different
scenarios
sort of missions. Does Palm Island have that? Or
and no, that's the difference. Palm Island was a straightforward score points. What this game tries to do is make it more of these mission based.
Yeah.
So it did something a little bit different.
Yeah.
But the core mechanic of you're playing the cards, you have X amount of cards you're able to keep available for yourselves. And then the cards are sliding behind.
So there's
turning.
three things. You can turn it 90 degrees.
Correct.
To make the resources available to you. They
And-
kind of stick out of the side.
Yeah.
You can flip the
You
card
can do
over.
up to 4 of them.
Sideways.
Yeah, so essentially it's...
You can flip the card over or you can rotate the card to the other
Yeah.
side. So you're sort of upgrading them and then maybe downgrading them based on what your needs are.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't like it.
It's a review for a reason, right?
I'm trying to expand to more solo stuff because I get it. But this didn't hit for me. I think I tried to play it 3 times and did not finish the game one time because I got frustrated with the gameplay. I thought it was very wonky to try to hold the cards like that in one hand.
Yeah.
With, to your point, up to 4 of them sideways, but not just sideways, right? Because you've also got to sort of splay them a little bit because you have to see.
Just go on camera with this. Yeah. Try it out.
All right.
Because I had very similar complaints.
And you have bigger hands than I do.
I do have bigger hands than you.
So, you're going like this. You're like, all right, I want to keep that gear. So you put it out this way. And then you're doing something else. You're like, oh, I want to keep that too. So you can get to a point where you've got 4 cards sticking out here like this. And you're still trying to look at the top 2 of the deck and decide what you want to do. It became like this cruddy dexterity solo experience.
Yeah.
That was not fun for me. I even tried to put them down like this and do it differently.
And then when you turn it back, it's be in the same order.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the thing is, I do have larger hands than you.
Too wonky.
And the gameplay threw me out of the entire game. And the thing about this, right? PalmLabratory, I like the aesthetic. I love classic monster movies. So like the Frankenstein thing was pretty cool, That's it though. That's really it.
Yeah.
Because everything else for this game, I had such a miserable time. And I played it all in my hand. It was actually the only game that I was able to play in an airplane.
That's right. You played this.
There you go.
You played this on the airplane. Right?
I could not escape. I was on an airplane, both flying to and flying back. That whole frustration of just going through. How am I going to handle these cards, moving back and forth? Thankfully, nothing fell.
Yeah, that would have been tough.
That would have been really tough. I had the tray table underneath to catch.
You're right. It
everything.
overshadowed what you were trying to accomplish in the game. I couldn't even get my head around a strategy or pay attention to how,
Well,
if I flipped the card over in the previous go round, why did I do it? I like forgot why I did stuff.
yeah, and well, that's the thing. So the first time you play it, you're just going through the motions, not really knowing why you're flipping things. You're just like, okay, I guess I will flip
Yeah,
it.
it's free. Why not?
So I'll do it, right? But there is like a pattern that you want to go for. So I just did that pattern my second play, and then I won it. And then they also want you to keep score, and like talk about a pain to keep score because now I just got through this whole process of going through it, and now you want me to go through these cards to count up the stars that have multiple stars on multiple parts of this card of this single card
that are different values.
Frustrating, beyond frustrating. PalmLabratory, I would not recommend. It's a 2.4 for me. I had such a miserable time.
I wasn't sure how low to go because I've never. It's rare that I dislike it.
Sorry,
apologies.
It happens, man.
But so many games
I haven't done Palm Island, and based on you played Palm Island.
I played Palm Island,
and you said don't hold it.
But Palm Island I liked better, and Palm Island I want to quantify this. I liked Palm Island better because Palm Island is a straightforward game for me where I'm just trying to score a certain amount of points. There's 8 rounds.
Do you still have 4 cards to the side?
It's still the 4 cards, but the cards that I had, and I don't know if it's expected it. No, I know. I don't know if it's impacted it. I had the cards that I had were these.
Look at this.
Yeah, you really get a size up.
No,
your hand?
you have
Yes.
to. Because the thing is, you're constantly moving cards.
You gotta let me finish though.
Sorry,
I bought the cards that had that were the waterproof style, and I found them easier to hold than this.
Okay,
that's what my point is. Okay. So the cards in this I had a harder time holding outside of our hand competition here. So for me, I liked Palm Island. I'm holding on to Palm Island. I still like it with the waterproof cards. They held fine. I enjoyed it. It's more of a quick little game for me. This one tried to do some different things outside of what you talked about with the holding. I could not hold these well. They were flopping all over the place for me. And ultimately I was less interested in the theme personally. Well, it's not a high score for me. It's just it was a 5. It was nothing I'm going to, run out and buy personally. I'd say if you like this style, try to check out the Palm Island one with the waterproof one. Cause I personally like that better.
But there's probably so many other better solo.
Oh yeah.
I'm not even thinking about this
as
I think if you like the idea of the mechanic of
if you're on a plane in coach and you have very little table space and want to play a board game, you can play that game.
Yeah, it's true.
For me, it's a 3.
Yeah.
There we go. We do have one more, however, and this is our final review of the show.
Yes.
And it is one. Can I just say, we tried to play this on stream.
It was cursed.
We tried to play this on stream so many damn times, but someone always got sick or something, and that is RearWindow.
Yeah, designed by Prospero Hall from Funko Games. You have not described a game yet, have you? Today?
Ever?
No,
today. Talk about RearWindow a little bit.
Describe RearWindow.
RearWindow is a next step up from like a Mysterium. Okay, so if you've never played Mysterium, it's this cooperative game, straight up cooperative, where one person is sort of this mystical spirit who's sending.
Well, they're the director. Oh, Mysterium.
Well, in Mysterium, they're giving these clues so that everyone else can piece together, the murder, how this person got murdered, with what and whatnot. So this is a similar setup in that it is co-op, but it could not be co-op at some point. As a director, which you were in the times that we played this, only you were going to know that at first.
Correct.
But essentially, you're going to be, as the investigators, you're going to be looking at the board, and your director is going to be placing cards down in these different apartment slots on the board. And your job is to assign and guess the person and their sort of role or their job or their attribute in each of these sections. So you'll find, here's the cop, and we think he's the photographer. And this one, this is Miss Torso, and we think she's the klutz or whatnot. So the investigators will go through and finally, get all 8 of these things out and say, okay, it's our final answer. As the director, they're going to then mark how many of those 8 placements we got correct. Not which ones, but how many there are. So now we move on to day 2, and we have to talk about, well, let's see, we got 5 things right. Well, it's pretty sure that this one was right. But the cool thing is, as the director, you can also choose to put a couple cards face down.
At most 2.
At most 2, right?
At most 2.
But that's the key thing. It's at most 2.
But it depends on what his motivation is for doing so, right?
Mm-hmm.
It might be that, okay, you guys figured this one out. You're good. I'm not going to show you anything else in there. But if there is a murder, you might want to throw the investigators off the scent, which in one of our plays happened. It was really cool because we were like, oh, we got this, we got this, we got this. What's wrong about this? And it was a ruse the whole time.
Sorry, Gold.
No, that's cool. That adds a really cool twist to the whole. I'm the master clue giver in this co-op game, and the rest of you are trying to figure something out.
And the key thing to me also is the fact that you're only getting those 8 cards.
Yeah.
So
right,
as a director,
so
he's got
difficult.
8 cards, which means if he doesn't like 4 of the cards, he still has to find a spot to put.
And I have
2 of them.
I have 3 chances throughout the entire game to discard as many cards as I want to draw up to those cards.
And you'll play over the course of these 4 days. So after that, it's time to score. Remind me of the scoring parameters.
Yes. So if we're all on the same team.
So if there's no murder.
If there's no murder. As soon as we get 8 points, we win the game. If there is a murder, it's going to get to day 4. And when it gets to day 4, you guys have 1 shot to say if there is a murder and who did it.
Right.
If you got it correct, you guys win. If you guys don't get it correct or don't guess it, and I end up with 6 or 7 points, I win. Because I still want you guys to think I'm on your team.
Right.
You guys got to 5 points.
Right.
It was funny. So we all lost that game because
we
did guess it was a murder.
We knew there was.
No, did you guess a murderer?
Yes.
Yeah.
We guessed that there was a murder,
right,
not the right murder.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We didn't guess the right murderer.
All right. So, a couple things. First, I pre-ordered this game because I love Hitchcock movies.
Mm-hmm.
I love Hitchcock movies. I see there's some chatter about Hitchcock.
I see the birds.
My favorite Psycho. RearWindow is my second favorite. Rope is my third, probably.
I never saw that.
Rope's so good. So RearWindow, I was really excited because it was billed as Mysterium meets Mastermind.
There you go. Yeah.
And it completely shines through that. The aesthetic is great. It gets you excited and gets you into that mood. You do like the whole like cheesy Alfred Hitchcock stuff, and then also there's different special abilities for all the characters that you could do, like one-time abilities with Jimmy Stewart's character and Grace Kelly's character. I've had such a great time doing this one, and I would if I were to do like a game of that ilk where it's like a Mysterium or a Dixit, this is the one I would go to.
Yeah,
hands down.
Yeah, I think what fell flat for me after a while with Mysterium was that it felt very samey in that. And again, I guess this has to do with if you play with the same group of people over and over again, right? And if the same person is always going to be the clue giver or whatnot. But I found that it came to the point where it was like, all right, we've seen this card a million times.
Yeah.
It's usually because of the color of this thing that he's trying to get.
The left is the person,
Exactly.
The right is the thing. The left is the person, the right is the thing.
There's so much more variability here because there's a lot of overlap with not only the characters that you're guessing about, but those characters are present in the artwork of the cards, but it can be totally irrelevant.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I like is that it seemed like, and again, you only played as
we did not play as the director. Yeah.
Not as the director. But one of the things I asked Ryan afterwards was, how was it for you as a director when Chris and I are sitting here having this kind of like, open conversation about what's right and what's wrong and what you guess? Are you getting bored by just sitting there?
So in the first game, second game, no. And it's because I played it incorrectly. So I didn't ruin the game, but the director is supposed to, after playing all their cards, draw their cards to get ready for the next round.
Got it.
I didn't do that. I waited for you guys to guess, and then I drew my cards. And
So
I
the
made my
second
guess.
game, you were able to prepare while we were kind
Yeah.
of, and we have a board, by the way, but we were able to, we could sit there and point, and try to be more quiet. I found it more fun.
Yeah, we
to
have.
the
There is a shield that we can use.
Yeah.
I liked that we had the conversation. I felt it made
There were
it.
times I was screaming inside with some of the things
Yeah,
you guys
sure.
were saying, because like you're inferring multiple things in a single card. I'm like, no, what? No, I want to point to one thing in
Well,
the
the cards
card.
are really well done.
Yeah, they're
in that aspect. Something Mysterium did well too. There's so much going on the card that it can point to.
By the way, I
different
think Dan's saying it's currently on the Barnes & Noble clearance. Honestly,
Yeah, it's $15 on Amazon right
Buy
now,
it.
guys.
I mean, honestly, this is a great.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a great game to have in that collection. And honestly, this to me, if Mysterium was in my collection still, Mysterium would
This
be
is the
gone, and this
Mysterium
would
killer.
replace it. Yeah,
I agree.
easily. And I don't like to say this game replaces this game unless I really feel this for me totally
Until it does,
replaces
yeah.
Mysterium.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
We're
Rear
gonna put my
Window. By the way, I gave it an 8.2.
All right, made 4.
8.4.
I made 3.
Look at that.
2, 3, 4.
Look at that, guys.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But
Harmony.
yeah, if Rear Window sounds like something that you would enjoy, I think you will enjoy it. And
Yeah.
a couple more things. First of all, it says the game is minimum at 3 players. I think you could play that at 2. There's
see
no
why not.
question you could play.
Oh,
it
no
at 2.
question. Easily a 2-player game.
And then I agree. It's probably best with 3. For sure.
I do think it's unique though in that sense that there's a lot of games like this. Like I could imagine playing Mysterium with 2. Yet, yeah, I could play this with 2. Dixit with 2 wouldn't be fun. This would be fun at 2 still.
No,
Yeah.
you can play Dixit with 2 players.
Well, I'm just no. But my point is, a lot of those games of that style,
Yes.
you can't do that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
So I think it's unique in that. But yeah, really enjoy it. So if you see this and you're able to get it for a
we
good
had
deal,
a blast playing this game.
yeah, I really wish again that the cursed stream eventually had happened because I think it would have been really fun on camera.
We still
But-
can.
Yeah,
But
but
we-
nothing stopping us now.
Yeah, we could totally do that sometime if people want to see us play this on camera because we'd have a lot of fun with it. But that was Rear Window.
Rear Window.
With that,
Yeah, see, there you go.
yeah,
Don't worry with the 3+.
No, don't do the
It's
3+.
It's definitely 2+. And I think honestly, like I still haven't played with my wife yet, but I think she would actually enjoy it because we like those murder mystery
Mhm.
kind of things. She loves the Rear Window movie. I do as well too. So
Oh.
I think she is going to enjoy it because you're in that position where you kind of like it is a little cat and mousey because you don't know if you're on the same team or not.
No.
Right.
It's got that hidden roll thing on top of it, that extra layer. Oh, and then there's another layer too where you can make it even harder. Where
Yeah.
so
Relationships.
hang on, let me pull that up. The relationship ones, yeah. Where is
oh
that?
yeah, because we used that in the last game that we did
we did right here
because we played a
So-
few games of this one.
It could be a game where you have a room where one person, right, it's the person on the left, and on the right is this is making a deal with this person, making a deal with Miss Torso. So the songwriter is making a deal with Miss Torso. And then Miss Lonely Hearts is the murderer. No, that's Miss Hearing Aid.
That's
Miss Hearing Aid is murder. Which, by the way, the names that they have are great because that's exactly what they are in the movie too.
Yep.
Because
Really?
they don't because
Because they don't know who they are.
they don't know who they are,
I see.
so they just say all these different names for everyone. Miss
Which
Lonely
is why
Hearts,
I liked
Miss
it with-
Torso is Miss.
But I like it with the 2 players because you do feel like you're just
You got that peeping Tom.
you got that peeping Tom,
That voyeuristic.
and you got those 2 people like
which is a common theme in Hitchcock movies.
it's no, this one's fun. Like again, it's I think if that sounds fun to you, go get this, try it out. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, very solid.
Especially at $15. Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah, that's very
that's
cheap.
that's a great price.
Okay. Anyways, enough
Wow.
Rear Window.
I believe you are probably going to be on stream next week, is what we're talking about right
So
now.
right now we're talking about doing a playthrough of Regicide with this cool deck of cards. So it's a Ghostbuster franchise playing card deck. So there's Ghostbuster groups all over the world. This is a deck of like all of the logos of the groups. So there's this group, there's that group, there's that group, and then there's our group over here. So I'll probably be reaching out to some of my Ghostbuster friends about jumping in and sucking them into board games.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and there's also a Regicide Kickstarter campaign going on right now too.
Yeah.
So we'll link to that while we're doing that.
Oh yeah, is there something new that they have?
Regicide Legacy.
Okay.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
Huh.
And of course, if you're not a member of Discord, go to the link in Discord, join, and you can call into a future call aboard as long as you're a member of the Discord. And if you have not called in the past and saw people calling tonight and are thinking about it, definitely make it part of your goal for next time. We'll come back with our theme for that one. We're not there yet, but we will announce that
2 weeks.
accordingly. And that'll be in 2 weweeks. So with that note, I say thank you for coming aboard the Tabletop Express. This has been Call Aboard. And
I know. Oh, yes, you can call in one day.
yes, please do.
Any day. It's just call _aboard.com. But I'm off to bed now.